Say what you have to say.
Almost 30 years ago, Raceland Majere came to this tower to take his test. Once inside the tower taking his test, he was contacted by...
We know that.
Some of us do. Some of us do not. Or at least, they do not know the entire story. The test was difficult for Raceland. It is difficult for all of us who take it, isn't it? Yes. The test is difficult, but it is not impossible. Parsalian and the heads of the Orders would not have granted Raceland permission to take it, as young as he was, if they had not deemed it likely that he would succeed. And he would have. Yes, Caramon, there is not a doubt in my mind, or in the minds of any who were present that day and witnessed it. Your twin had the strength and the skill to succeed on his own. But he chose the easy way, the sure way. He accepted the help of an evil wizard, the greatest of our orders who ever lived, Fistendantalus. Yes, Fistendantalus. His magic having gone awry, he died at Skullcap Mountain. But he was powerful enough to defeat death itself. His spirit survived on another plane, waiting to find a body it could inhabit. And it found that body.
We can go, Father. I'm sorry. I was wrong to make you come. We don't have to listen.
Yes, young mage. You do have to listen, I am afraid. You must hear the truth.
We know the truth. The evil wizard took my brother's soul, and you may just let him!
No, Caramon! Raceland made a deliberate choice to turn his back upon the light and to embrace the darkness. Fistendantalus gave him the power to pass the test, and in exchange, Raceland gave Fistendantalus part of his life force in order to help the Lich's spirit survive. That is what shattered his body, not the test. Raceland said it himself, Caramon. This is the sacrifice I made for my magic. How many times have you heard him say those words?
Enough! It was Parsalian's fault. No matter what evil my twin did after that, you mages started him down that path he eventually walked.
No. Listen and understand, Caramon Majere. You must, or you will regret it bitterly.
Is that a threat?
No threat. At least not one we make. Think, Caramon. Don't you see the danger? It happened once. It can happen again.
Don't understand.
Yes, you do. You understand. Don't ask for us to tell you details, for we cannot. But know this, by certain signs we have seen, and certain contacts we have made in realms beyond this one, we have reason to believe that Raceland lives, much as did Fistendantalus. He seeks a way back into this world. He needs a body to inhabit, and you, his beloved twin, have thoughtfully provided him with one, young, strong, and already trained in magic. Your son.
transported in a second-floor guest room filled with tall ales and taller tales. Join a group of grown men intent on discussing the intricacies of fantasy and science fiction. Tim Gilbert Media presents
Dungeons and Dweebs! I thought you took a battle axe because it got it right to the back of her.
Hello, all you fans of journeys, myths, and tales of yore. This is the Dungeons and Dweebs podcast, episode 40, Dragonlance, the Second Generation, part 1. I'm your host, Bob, and as Grandpa used to say, a chicken with its neck wrung is different than a chicken with its head cut off. But does it matter to the chicken? What does that mean? Well, keep listening. But I'm not alone. Across the table from me, he tells tales that are both true and untrue. He stands in the midst of frozen automobiles, cars lined like cenotaphs, bundle of loose-fitting t-shirts and hoodies, all denoting the name of some erstwhile tech company. His fingers deftly move across the keyboard like a loon that takes flight from a cold northern pond. He is the rock, the keel of our wayward pod ship. He is Luke.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Hey, we're back. Little behind schedule. Summer.
Go figure.
Summer's weird.
Why should we even bring it up again? It's just always. It's constant.
We need a little asterisks on the bottom of our reading calendar.
We gave him some deeper delves.
Yeah, Deeper Delves came out.
Well, one. Well, no, never mind. The next one will be out before this one.
Right before.
Yeah.
We're recording this the day that one's going to come out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know. You've taken over the audio side of things. I've gone video. And all I do is watch progress bar of rendering now. Good lord. Anyway, let's...
Slowly ticking
progress
away.
bar second season is the best of the progress bar of rendering.
Dude,
I heard they're not being subscribed for a third.
The third season, though, it just goes downhill. It's terrible.
They're not getting picked up.
It's the same thing over and over again.
The progress bar of rendering sounds like a legendary magical artifact in D&D.
Either that or a magic card.
I think it's Doctor Strange. It's part of one of his things. The Wanda Watum
Progress bar of rendering.
progress bar of rendering.
You are now only allowed to do an action every 5 minutes.
Enough of that. Let's kick things off across the table from me. It's Klab.
Good morrow, my young learners of the mystical ways. It's the end of August in the Great North Woods, and Mother Nature's gone from 95 to 55 like it just saw a state trooper. We're still about a month from autumn, and the days and nights of adventure and sorcery that comes from mixing a brew of natter days and that summer brew of Caucasian females diving into their pale robes and the pointy horn nail staffs as an excuse to act in debauchery without rules. That's right, folks. Uncle Klab can definitely be a big fan of the lasses when there's no laws with the White Claws. Oh my God. Wow.
Man, there ain't no time when you're drinking wine, ain't no laws when you're drinking claws.
Across the table from me, he's nursing a bad Speedo sunburn from last weekend at the lake. The closest to my Deadpool, he's currently wiping the drool off his face because he just woke up from his afternoon nap. Paul, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. However, word of wisdom for everybody. Falling asleep outside sunbathing in a Speedo. Don't do it. It hurts. The burn just does not feel good.
So are you an aloe guy? Did you rub it down with aloe?
Oh no, I just embrace the pain. You have to embrace the pain.
No, you don't. My grandmother said vinegar. You put white vinegar all over that. It keeps you from peeling.
And it
does.
And I do have to say, Paul,
But you smell like a pickle.
I have to go to work here eventually, and I don't want to be
Paul, I am impressed by the amount of heat radiating off of you right now, and the fact that you look like the weirdest sculpture of Neapolitan ice cream I've ever seen.
You're welcome.
He's Pickle Paul!
Do I have to put my pants back on?
No, please don't.
Then
Leave them on.
I was just gonna say, like, word of wisdom to people, if you're in a Speedo, don't fall asleep. maybe word of wisdom: if you have a Speedo sunburn, don't show. You don't have to show all of your friends.
That is
But
true.
everybody needs to know you gotta watch out, man. You don't want to fall asleep like that.
But that vinegar and coconut oil, little mixture.
Yeah.
Dab that on a sunburn. It's how I survived Hawaii.
There you go. You're like weird Megan. You're giving us all kinds of weird.
No, I was sunburnt real bad, and it actually helped.
Yeah, it does. No, it really does. So
Did you smell like?
I did.
All right.
I was a little stinky.
yeah, it doesn't smell great. So we are here to review the first part of Dragonlance, the second generation, a return of Margaret Weis, the team of Weis and Hickman.
Did
Boy,
either
is
of
it
you,
noticeable.
Did either of you, when you're looking up, stuff for this book, did you accidentally type in Dragonlance Next Generation? Because I did that.
Oh, did you? Oh,
And I couldn't find anything. No, that's Star Trek. Dang
Star
it.
Trek: The Next Generation.
Dragonlance, they're all stuck in this one little island for the entire time.
Okay.
It is a cross between the two lands within Kryn or something like that.
Tazlohoff, make it so.
Although I tell you what, I would kill to watch Michael Dorn play Old Man Caramon.
Oh, that would actually be fantastic.
I'm on board.
He'd have to wear makeup yet again.
Not again.
But man, my throat's parched. We got a lot to get to. So
Tell you what, I haven't bought for a while. Last time I only bought one. It's my time. It's my time. I'll be back.
all right, grab me some olives as well.
All right. Klab, you want that egg?
Yes, please.
All right.
Jade egg?
I was in a relationship
I swear to you, man,
with a
the woman with the
draconian
blue
woman.
dragon, she brought me up to her room
Boy,
last
did
night.
she have good
Where's my
time.
corn purse?
Why don't you fellas follow me into my
plastic
cupboard?
tender.
I'll show you how my glorious good.
What'll it be, boys?
Tavern talk.
Well, we're back, cozied up around the tavern fire. We all have our beverage of choice. Mine has olives floating in it. Klab is using his jade egg.
Not so much a jade egg as it's actually a pickled egg because that fits better.
The bar has one of those jars with just eggs sitting there. People are using them for the wrong reasons.
They're all neon red.
As long as they're paid for, they don't care. As long as you pay for it.
I've been at the bar keegling all night.
You gotta warm up.
Have fun explaining
But
that one, Andrew.
this
Good luck, Andrew.
God, you Cameron Diaz.
and there's our first sword. So this is
You're gonna leave in Kegel, but sword up. God.
why would I sword Kegel?
To be fair,
Because I think that's worse than God.
But it's not a swear.
to be fair, Kegel does kind of sound like a weird female dwarf name.
It's just like, I don't know. I just feel like generic waffles. I don't know why.
A generic waffle?
I don't know. Or a generic breakfast company.
This household doesn't get waffles. Those are like the nice waffles. They're too expensive. We get the Kegels.
Lego my Kegel.
New frozen breakfast waffles from Kegel. So this is tavern
You
talk.
walk into the bar and there's just a line of people using those jade eggs like we talked about. Excuse me, you're gonna have to leave. You can't do that here. Hey, legal my Kegel.
All right.
Welcome to Tavern Talk.
Tavern Talk. So we talk about nothing, apparently.
So this is Tavern Talk, the portion of the show where we are supposed to go around talk about what's going on in our nerd universe, but we are finding we're getting a lot of feedback. It's far more helpful and probably something you'd rather listen to hear what you guys have to say. So first of all, we're kind of coming off the heels here of a local news station had done a little bit of a show on us. And so we posted that video, and by the way, it's a video, so you can click it and
click through
and watch us. But anyway, we got a little bit of response from that. Phil says, "Congrats, guys." Matthew comes in It's because of Uncle Klab. He's the best.
To which I did respond. I did respond to you, Matthew, talking about the fact that actually my schedule didn't allow me to be here for the day that the news was here. Oh, that wasn't the back of your head? No, that was actually Neil.
And I like how deep.
I appreciate the fact that somebody thinks I still have that much hair.
I like how Matt's kind of like, oh well. The other guys are awesome too.
Thanks, Matt.
Bob doesn't actually wear that hat all the time in real life.
No, I have it on right now because I weirdly put it on for that show.
That is what happens when you have a few too many BL lines.
So I'm pushing. I'm like, okay, we've got to market this, boys. We've got to look as nerdy as possible around the table. Luke owns a hooded sweatshirt.
It's a wizard hoodie.
It looks like a wizard's cloak. And I'm like, you need to put that on so you can be like the hooded mage. Yeah. Nope, I was the only one that would put on any kind of weird hat.
Well,
I would have had I been here.
I know.
And what I said to you when you were telling me to put it on, Bob, you're married. You don't have to worry about this being on TV.
That's
exactly. You're the married.
If I want to continue to see women,
I disagree.
I cannot wear a cloak
I disagree.
on TV.
Women like wild and crazy guys.
Not guys in cloaks.
That is true. Pulling out a cloak and a couple
hold on.
20-sided dice
However-
is not that.
However, you have a much better chance at a cloak than you do if you were wearing a fedora. Or I'm sorry, a tri-billy.
There is a lot of very good-looking cosplay girls that I think would
Not
be just
here.
fine.
Not here.
Not here.
Not where we live.
And also,
That's also
you never
true.
know. If you start, a satanic cult, you can always wear a cloak then, and you never know what
Yeah,
happens.
you just gotta own it.
Yeah.
Yeah, flip
Fair
it.
enough.
Chaos magic.
I guess what I really wanted to get at was Bob doesn't dress like that in real life, and my head isn't that big in real life. Good God, why did you zoom in on my face like that?
Okay, so I don't understand what it, and it's great. The promo piece that was done on us was great.
It was.
It was great.
We really appreciate it.
But it is always fun when there's a zoom in on the face. It's just lips.
It's defined fun.
It's off-putting. I felt bad for the guys before us because there's a couple shots where it was just lips and hair. Do you know what that looks like on a 55-inch TV? Because I do.
Are we still talking about the interview?
Nothing but hair follicles and lips. That's all you see.
Was your head turned to the side while you were talking?
It was like a safari. You don't ever want to go down there.
Never. Okay, this is an audio podcast. Nobody can see what you're
We
doing.
were supposed to keep talking. Just for me and him.
We did, though. We released a Deeper Delves. Riverwind and the Crystal Staff is what we released first.
Oh yeah, we got a little bit of feedback from Andrew. First off, he was not listening in the car with his kids, waiting for us doorknobs to cuss and get to the point. He was in the car, however, but he was wondering why we started with that poem. And trust me, Andrew, I agree, but it was the start of the book, so that's what we went with.
So a little behind the scenes on that one. We didn't know exactly on Deeper Delves how much we'd be able to read, or everybody would be able to read and get out and talk about. And so I had originally thought, let's just do the first 3 books, and then it was like, well, let's just do 2. And then we got here, and we were like, let's just see how long we can talk on something as stupid.
And we had a conversation about, we were supposed to record that probably a couple weeks before we actually had.
Yeah.
And you came to me, and I'm like, I read it. I don't know how we can even get a half an hour out of that.
Yeah, right.
How long was the episode?
And we just kind of
minutes.
we laughingly were like, well, maybe this will just be a 15-minute. We'll merge Blood Sea Monster onto this one, whatever. Yeah, we ended up going an hour, and then after editing, 48 minutes on that poem.
Yeah. And,
There's a lot of fluff in there. But I do
fun episode, honestly.
Yeah.
Especially after that news broadcast. If anybody's like, well, what should I listen to? I'm gonna point them at that. Just something. It's not excessively nerdy, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And a little back knowledge came out of there. We had a discussion on that one about Native Americans, Mormonism, and white people in the Americas. And after doing extensive research, by listening to last podcast on the left, Mormonism absolutely believes in white people in the Americas. So that was definitely
new to me,
that was
yeah.
definitely a
Yeah.
thing. Although I'm sure people will disagree, but yeah, it was
Whatever.
according
People will disagree because it's made up.
and that will get us hate mail.
Oh, bring
Thing
it.
we don't have a
Bring it.
mailing address.
I will discuss the fact that there was not a white civilization in the Americas.
Yeah,
forever.
you know, I guess I will have to as well. But Travis or Dan says, I just finished part 2 of Soul Forge, best podcast to date. A lot of people are having a lot of good things to say about our Soul Forge stuff. And I do think it's probably because it's one of the ones we were the most positive on as well. So we're coming around to the glory of Dragonlance. So buckle in for second gen.
Will it continue?
Travis says, I second that. Best standalone and non-Weis Hickman novel. It was the book I would give somebody as an introduction to Dragonlance. Yeah, I definitely think it's their best standalone. That's not Weis and Hickman.
Yeah.
By a long shot. I'm going to probably say not the one to introduce somebody to.
There's too much side things.
When it
yes, it's a
spoils a
good
lot,
book.
too.
It spoils a lot. It's just one of those where I think if you've already read the first 6 and then you read it, you go, oh man, I wish I had read this first, but you already had that knowledge.
Right.
So it's not spoiling anything for you.
I 100% agree. Justin says, y'all seriously need to deeper delve Legend of Huma. And I'm with that.
Yeah,
I would
mean,
love,
Yeah, we probably should.
Maybe as we get into the depths of winter and there's not a lot to do and Dragonlance is off the radar, we'll maybe surprise people with deeper delve on Huma or something else. If
doesn't
we have
like
the
it?
time. I'm saying that now. Hey, we have still not sat down to watch Blade Runner. And that's just a 2-hour movie.
But who doesn't like
I still
some-
have all my notes about Time Machine. The
I
movies.
made
yeah,
out.
so do I.
I still have beautiful spreadsheets made up of all the actors in them, their names, their pictures.
But here's the question: do you have
We care.
spreadsheets about all the different models of that time machine
No,
so that we
not,
could argue?
not
about
of the
that
time
more?
machine. I'm talking about
What the
Blade
saddle
Runner.
look like?
Yeah, it's all about the saddle. All right, so I'm going to actually continue a little bit with what Andrew was talking about because we were talking about having Gold Moon and Lorana be combined in one character.
Right.
And he does not agree with it. He agrees, and so does Brendan. He's another
Brendan's
guy.
a Lorana purist.
He is.
And I'm dead
he
to
is
him.
Definitely a Lorana purist. You've been dead to him for a while.
Brendan makes a good point
I
here.
agree.
I will, being the non-Lorana guy, I will even say he makes a good point. You don't combine the medic and the general.
That's
Yeah.
true. You never want the general up front.
Yeah. Bones and
Or no, you want
Kirk
the
had to
general.
be 2 separate
Yeah.
characters.
Right. But I think when we were initially talking about combining those 2 characters, I think we were, just glossing over the fact that we'd probably talk about a complete rewrite of what was
Yes.
even going on with those 2 characters. And then in some way, Lorana would have still been the general. Maybe she was in hiding. Maybe something with her kingdom would have happened. She would have had to have left. And she was the only one with the staff that was with them.
I would say
I don't know.
Brendan is right in what he said in his comment about it would take away from what Lorana had done if she had mystical god powers. I absolutely agree with
That's
that.
true.
Yeah.
Her
I like
story-
that she's the golden general on her own merits.
And her arc that she had, she couldn't have started with that ability, I suppose.
We'll probably talk about that when we get into all the Lorana that there is in this book. Oh, wait.
That's why we haven't heard from Brendan so much.
Yeah, Brendan's been very much not around. That's probably
Actually, wait, Bob. Let me ask you this: is this? Yeah, you've only read the first half of this, haven't you?
I've only read the first half, but
No,
I know what's coming up in the last half.
Brendan will jump all over us in the second half with whiny mom.
Yeah, I was gonna say Tanis's baby son.
No, you've already been dead.
Yeah.
I switched
isn't
sides.
there a
we got
little
mad.
bit of Lorana in this
Very
one?
little.
Yeah,
They're very little
Lorana.
Lorana. And then, yeah, sorry, very little, and we just have his whiny little son, Tanis's whiny son.
Yeah.
Lorana would have never had a kid like this, but that's spoilers for next time.
Golden General would not.
And I guess while you're looking for our next bit of feedback on Facebook, I'm gonna hop over to YouTube. Get some YouTube comments.
Hey.
We have Larry on YouTube commenting on our video Raceland's End. His favorite character is Death. I like to think he blew off a few of her heads and feet just so she'd remember him.
Yeah, probably.
Look at Steven as well on the same video thinks that I sounded like Orlando Bloom voicing Raceland, which
yes.
maybe the same accent, but he continued on. He really enjoyed this take on the voices. It's different voices than he had expected, and their tones as they speak. I like to see others' perspectives and adaptations of it. And I've heard that before. It must have been a YouTube comment when we were doing the Twins trilogy last year, where they're like, "Oh, a Cockney Caramon, that's funny."
Oh yeah.
And I guess in my mind, that's just fantasy characters have English accents. That's just what
I agree.
Yeah.
Because it lends gravitas to what you are doing, right? Like, and a lot of times, I mean, you even watch what they've done in modern terms, Lord of the Rings and things like that. English accents then, or some form of accent, is what is usually given to them. So I wonder what it would be like to be a person in England, because I can't stand when they don't have accents, right? Like if it sounds like you're straight up American in some sort of fantasy realm.
It better be a Western fantasy.
If it's not some sort, and I would hate it if it was teen, but if it's not some sort of teen CW network show, right? Like I hate when they don't have accents.
Yeah.
So, but what would it be like if you're in England and that is the accent everybody talks with? Maybe does it lose its gravitas? I have no idea.
I don't know.
For us, it's like, ooh.
We have UK listeners. Why don't you guys let us know?
Yeah, UK listeners, let us know what fantasy's like over there.
You are our second most popular country that downloads us, so
Yeah.
Well, and it is that idea too. Dwarves are always Scottish
Yes.
or
Right.
Irish.
Yes.
And so it is
Hey.
that. It is that idea
Hey,
that
Eddie.
I think could just
Irish
keeps
accent's no
permeating back to Tolkien, back to the old stuff of the way their dialect was actually written.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Where you have the dialect spellings instead of the true spellings, which give you that idea of that accent in your
And it's
voice.
fantastic to hear that voice in your head.
Yeah. Okay, so then we also have something from Justin. He says, enjoyed the Deeper Delves, guys. Lots of great bits. But the first thing I really wanted to chew over was, the idea of Gold Moon and Lorana. I think you're onto something, but I suggest that it's not those two that need to be merged. It's Elliston, who serves no purpose whatsoever. If this is ever adapted to another medium, come on, Netflix, I would have Riverwind die. Like Luke said, delete Elliston and lean hard into Gold Moon's role as prophetess. Keep Lorana's arc basically the same, only not have her fall for Kitiara's bull spring dawning.
Come on.
I think there's enough story for both Lorana and Gold Moon, but both Elliston and Riverwind are basically clunky furniture for the vast majority of the saga. They add little, but eat up space. 100% agreed.
I would agree with that.
In terms of
However, then
the
how-
Elliston Riverwind eating up space, I agree. This is just because they needed to adhere to the modules, right? And have like every type of character on screen at all times.
Yeah.
I think anyway that's kind of the reason for a lot
But then
of that.
how would Gold Moon have all of her kids that Caramon's kids are fawning over or whatever? Yeah, there you
But
go.
Gold Moon, I think, needed to be expanded because she really goes away. After that
Yeah.
first book, like, who
She's
cares?
pointless. Yeah. She could have had a great story, but they got rid of her for no reason. other
But
than-
they needed to. You see by the time we get to the Twins trilogy how we've really, really pared down the extra characters. And so they needed to focus in on things.
And
So
maybe
I,
she does. I should actually say maybe that she does have a great story. I just haven't read it yet because I know there's a lot of stories.
there is a
out
lot of
there.
extra stuff out there. Correct.
I'm gonna hop over to YouTube again. We got another comment on our video. Iron Gold, burn him.
Ooh.
Craig over there says, "I'm sorry, but the Ash Lord was supposed to have a large voice, and this sounds more like a bored Vegeta smoking a cigar than a dying beast of a man." And some lines seem rushed and less genuine, and if you listen, some characters' voices waver and they don't stay consistent. And like, I do want to. This came to me in an email. I read it, and at this point, I'm like, "Oh, what a jerk!" But then it goes on to be like one of the better YouTube comments I've ever read.
Yeah.
YouTube can be toxic.
Because it's actually like a constructive criticism.
Right.
I think you have good voice in parentheses voices, and could be professional voice actors with some direction. Remember the slip ups. Every emotion, every characteristic and nuance shows brightly in your voice. acting. Keep it up. I love hearing dramatizations like this. You know, Craig, thank you. I'm going to reply because he doesn't sound like a listener.
Probably not on the podcast.
Sounds like someone who just found us on YouTube. I'm going to reply to it. That was honest. I mean, like, especially in the toxicity that is YouTube comments.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah.
It was nice and it was constructive. It was one of those, like, here.
I agree.
It was good.
And from a standpoint of, so what do we do sometimes with these voices and things? It's true. When we first started this, everything was scripted and we took an awful lot of time. And now, life has gotten a little bit faster. And so there are definite times where we just show up down here in the studio and we are cranking it out really fast. And we're kind of like, so what voice did we do the last time for that? And
this one, let's go.
And we just kind of, give her an accent and go. And so, consistency wise, we probably don't always hold, even in this last one we just did. I know that I had voiced Dalamar before. I didn't go back to listen to what it sounded like, so there's probably inconsistencies between the old Dalamar and the one I did this time, right?
And really, that's just, we have real lives and real jobs. So this is a hobby of ours.
Yeah. It's not an excuse, though. No. We need to get better. We need to get better.
No, and we do.
Hey,
and if you want us to get better, why don't you subscribe to us on YouTube so we can have some income coming into this? And this is all we'll do.
How great would that be? I promise, if this is all we're doing, audio dramatizations up the yin yang of this stuff. All of Tales done as an audio drama.
Probably read the entire book.
That would be fun.
It would.
But then we'd have to get rights and stuff. Oh, come on, old Marge. Sell off some rights.
Come on, just make a fake, just make another LLC and just have that LLC by that one, and eventually they'll get through the, by the time they would find who actually created it, then they'd be dead.
We do have one more thing. I said I was going to bring it up, on the last episode of Delves that came out. We got a message from Lydia on Facebook who was just saying how much we meant to her and, through these tough times she's been having. I did reach out to her whilst we were recording Deeper Delves. She hasn't gotten back to us, so I'm not going to expose anything of what she said.
Right.
But I just, we all of us want to say thank you.
Yes.
Like, what you had to say to us was just moving.
It was genuinely a heartwarming thing to hear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for those of us that we are in like the service industry in our real life, and we are in the we are all public servants, and we've established that we work in schools and that we work with people, and to have something like that come back to us from what we're doing is just, four guys in a basement having a good time. To have it mean that much to somebody, that means a lot.
That's cool.
And we're with you, Lydia, and hey, Lydia.
There we go. I was waiting for that. I was like, come on, Klab, you gotta do that.
Thank you. And I think I might have gotten into it on Deeper Delves. It was the second episode we recorded, and memory gets a little hazy.
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah, I was with people when I first started reading it. I'm like, I'm gonna start getting choked up if I keep reading this. And we're out by the lake on the dock, and all of a sudden I'm like,
don't cry.
Luke, what's in your phone? Nothing. Nothing.
Kegels.
Jeez, Kegels. I'm just giggling on the end of the dock.
Anyway, thank you, Lydia.
Yes.
Thank you, Lydia.
It means so much to us.
It does. So that is Tavern Talk. If you guys want to get a hold of us, all of your thoughts and all of that kind of stuff really means a lot. I actually really like when we can do the Tavern Talks as feedback from you guys. So a lot of times people will post things to our Facebook page. It just takes us a while. We take a look at them and then we'll post them. So,
and if you don't want to post things, you can do it. Lydia said, send us a message.
Instant message us through
email
Facebook, email us.
But I mean, I know with the messenger that I see that, and
we all see the Facebook stuff pretty quickly. Yeah, I know we missed a few things in Gmail.
Yeah.
So
shout out to Mike though for hooking us up.
Mike is the best.
Star Wars.
He knew what was coming. Star Wars is coming.
It took me a month to write him back. I'm sorry, dude.
Because literally,
it's like snail mail.
We never get anything in email, so sometimes I forget to go look at it. Yeah. Everybody's always on Facebook, so then all of a sudden Luke's like, "Hey, did you see in email that we got a little gift?" I'm like, "Awesome!" But we had not been in there for a long time.
Nope.
So sorry.
And it does, and mostly everything goes to my phone. It's just, I see it, and then, like, I actually want to have, like, a good response to it. So then I'll put it off, and then I'll forget, and it's just... But again, this is a hobby.
Right. Well, all right, boys. I'm feeling soft and sentimental, so I'm gonna go get us some wine, if that's okay. Are you all right with that?
Ain't no time when you're drinking wine, boy. Let's go.
All right, I actually had some. I actually had some of the pointy horned White Robe brew coming. It's a bit fizzy. It might wake us up. Might get us a little going here. So that's coming right now. We'll get that. We'll get some wine for you. And let's hit this up and let's actually jump into this book because, like I talked about in the last episode, I am so excited to talk about second gen with you guys because I was having such fun with it.
Yeah.
All right, bring that here, honey. Yes. Yeah, please. No, right here. Yes, all of us get one. Don't look at me like that.
They're all for him.
We got purse.
Ooh, tell me more.
It's a DeLorean, isn't it?
Scales were always in my favor.
I might have driven a DeLorean here.
Hey, pull up a chair, friend.
So here we are. This doesn't have like a crazy like name, but Dragonlance, the second generation.
Cue next gen music.
I couldn't remember it off the top of my head. It's just I know it's
There is no like volume 1, 2, nothing.
No, there's just different stories.
the second generation. I think we're gonna cover books 1, books 2.
Yeah. So the first 2 stories,
Are they-
Are they books or just stories?
I would say this is an anthology series.
No,
and
they're
so,
not books.
No, so there are 6 stories. We're gonna cover the first 2, mainly because on these kind of shows we do the whole intro
Part
thing,
one gets
and
a little-
part 1 gets a little long in the tooth usually. So yeah.
But hey, as long as we're talking about it, Bob, do you have any sort of synopsis ready for us?
I have kind of a synopsis. Yes.
Slacking again. Okay.
No, not this time. Dragonlance, the Second Generation by Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman, published by TSR Books, February 1994. Generation X. Entitlement, lack of drive and motivation, irritatingly collectivist, if not all-out socialist in their political leanings. Everyone is given a trophy, and nobody should be made to feel bad. Well, in the case of the second generation, written by Daddy Hickman and Big Mommy Marge, Generation Kryn is pampered with not one novel, lest anybody feel bad, but a collection of 5 novellas, each showcasing a different child or children of our heroes of the lands. In the first novella, Aras Son, we are introduced to Steel Brightblade, a child of a sinful premarital romp between Kitiara and Sturm.
Yeah, they did.
Our poor little Steel is raised instead by Sarah, a social worker with a conscience, who convinces Kit not to have an abortion, but instead leave the baby in the hands of the state. But fascism is an attractive idea to angry young white motherless boys, and Steel joins the Knights of Takesis. Will he be turned? Can Tanis refrain from getting tears in his eyes in this story?
There's still good in him. I feel it.
We turn next to the Sons of Caramon, but the story mainly focuses on the misunderstood magic user Palin. Caramon and Tika have created a nice, stable nuclear family. Mom and Dad both work, the kids are provided for and given every opportunity to succeed. Conservative, full of faith and hard work, it is the perfect family to be put upon by evil. For Palin is not truly a good Catholic like his mother and father believe. Late at night, he listens to Metallica and pores over 2nd edition rules to Dungeons & Dragons. We learn his evil uncle Raceland is trying to possess his body from beyond the grave. This is happening in trailer parks right now.
Wasn't this the plot of the Pick of Destiny?
The pick of destiny, child. Okay. But instead of holding an exorcism like any good Catholic family, Caramon instead allows his son to be used as bait for the devil. But will the plan work? Or will young Damien/Palin become the Antichrist? Or is it all just a dream? On to Sturm and Tannen's excellent adventure. Oh, and Palin is there too. Guess he's not the Antichrist. Here we see what happens when 3 straight-laced Mormon kids get let off the compound. Drinking, whoring, gambling, some sort of dumb gem.
You know, everybody needs their own Rumspriga.
Waking up in hotel rooms with dwarves, hammers, and even the god Riorix.
What you do for fun is your own business.
Guess all this has payoff in Dragons of Summerflame. We shall see. Next, do you watch Skinamax? Are you a fan of the Red Shoe Diaries? Perhaps
I plead the fifth.
Perhaps the sultry scenes from 50 Shades of Grey? Perhaps you watched that one scene from Highlander too many times? Well, Hickman throws all of his previous pontifications about boot scenes right out the window as we get the telling of Raceland's daughter. Who was Raceland banging, you may ask? Well, don't miss the next episode. Believe me, this is going to be a good one. And finally, we close with The Sacrifice, a story about Tanis's weak son, Gilthus. My consternation at the lack of Lorana in this story can only be topped by Brendan's fury. Sorry, I am assuming that, Brendan. And we will end with everyone's favorite, an appendix with game statistics.
Well, in your book, anyway.
Yeah, so if you have the hardcover, I don't know, does the softcover have the game statistics?
I don't think so.
I don't know, but that's the reprint by Wizards.
Yes.
No game statistics in that?
Well, if it's not a game they have rights to.
Well, they did.
I have a preview of Summer Flame in the back.
Okay, preview, no stats. Okay.
Yeah, and I have
and music notes.
Yeah, there is music. We should try that. See what that is.
Song of Huma.
A lot of chanting. I'm pretty sure a lot of chanting.
That's all my appendix is.
Next episode, maybe we can figure out what that is.
All right.
We'll get a piano player in here.
Yeah, we'll knock something out here.
But so the second generation, here we are. This is Margaret and Tracy returning to the universe that they created. I don't know. It's 1994, so the last trilogy came out in the late 80s, so it's been a few years.
I'm going to be completely honest. Whenever I read these books, I automatically assume 80s.
Yeah, they're
like,
not
no
anymore.
matter what. It doesn't matter. To me, this was made in the 80s still.
Star Trek The Next Generation.
we have to do the Song of Huma next time.
We will do it. We'll find out
God.
what that is and we'll chant it into this mic.
Okay.
Okay, that's all.
Okay.
But it's 1994, so like what is Next Gen, and it's like 6th season, 7th season, something like that.
Paul and I were 4.
Yeah, we were 4.
Yeah, nice. I was 14, and I was falling fast for a blue-eyed girl in my homeroom class. Trying to find the courage to ask her out was like trying to get oil from a water spout.
And look how far you've come.
You married that
Life's a dance. You learn as you go. But anyway.
I initially, right off the bat, I do want to talk about, you described it as an anthology.
Yes.
Or a collection of novellas.
For sure.
Which kind of, honestly, my problem is like the formatting of this book. Like,
it's all over the map.
It's all over the map. It's doing these weird things with chapters where it doesn't end.
So I don't
like every other chapter book.
Well, or the story ends and you're like, okay, we're going on to the next chapter, and wait a minute, we're with other people now. What's going on here?
I feel like I have to say this all the time. Like this is a very weird move for TSR. Mm-hmm. Like at this point, Weis and Hickman are known commodities. They are big names. They have had 2 great trilogies. We talked about in our Tales stuff how that was an odd choice to lead with. A poem at the beginning of Tales, right? Oh. So we've already had this discussion of TSR and its odd choices. I believe this is Weis and Hickman returning, I would say, with pomp and circumstance. I don't know if at this point the Dark Gate stuff had been done. Like, they were doing other things outside of this. They're returning to Dragonlance, so they're kind of rock stars coming back to play the amphitheater again.
And I feel like the way this is written, it could be just one of those where they kind of would periodically take a break from whatever project they were working on.
Right.
Come to Dragonlance, write out like one of these stories, and then go back. So it's a nice little break that they put into a nice book.
But I feel like maybe because now they're rock stars, they are given a lot of freedom in this book. This whole book, it starts out with like there's a prologue, which is like this weird poem about Tracy Hickman showing up wearing a weird hat in his car and Margaret seeing him out the window.
Does he have golden plates in the hat that he's going to read? Or?
Hey, Marge, I got the next story. Hold on while I stare into my hat. The and the thummim are giving me what the next book is. It's like a stream of consciousness. Okay, so...
Is he like that?
First of all, there is a son. A son, his name is Steel. Okay, hold on. Let me stick my head into this hat again.
The hat was
you know it started with... Okay, so Caramon has a son. He names him after Sturm. Okay, so we got that.
And wait, way over here, there's this island.
What if he named his other son Tanis? No, that's too on the nose. We'll go Tannen.
Margaret, who has just been like staring at the birch trees out over the lake, it's like, oh God, here comes Hickman again, showing up. She tries to paint him in this beautiful light of like, I see his tattered clothing as he steps out of the car. And really she's thinking, son of a... Here comes Hickman back again.
He showed up wearing diapers after a nice long car ride. He was like that astronaut lady.
I heard you guys are doing a new Dragonlance. I'm here now.
I have a lot of big ideas.
Boof kicks down the door. I heard you did one book without me.
Yeah.
Three guys in the back room doing copy editing go, oh Christ, who called him?
Marge is just furiously writing with a quill in hand. Okay, so what now? What's going on? So Kitty Ara, she was pregnant. Who did she have sex with? The short one. Flint. You had sex with Flint.
Wait, Tracy. Yeah. Flint is 100+ years older than her.
Okay, wait. Let me stick my head in the hat once again. Okay,
Flint's been living with Flint's been living with Taz for how long? We've already established that.
Wait, you know what? No, our audience would not suspect that and the thummim are now showing me that it would be Sturm. Sturm is who she had sex with.
But wasn't his whole thing that like he's a virgin?
And like pure of heart?
No.
Yeah, well, and see, she kind of rewrote that then in Soulforge, where once we get up into the late 90s, when Soulforge is written, she gives them time to be together. The whole Sturm Kitty Ara, she gives that breath to be. But I could see coming out of the gate, you kind of being like, as a fan, you're like, what? Sturm was seduced by...
Not my Sturm and his mustaches.
I bet you if Tanis finds out, he's going to cry.
I wanted her to have a baby with me.
Anyway.
But there is an egregious amount. There's a prologue, there's a foreword, there's a poem. Like, it really drags on for a long time here at the beginning before we get to the first story. But once we finally do, I don't know, we get a poem by Fizbin even.
I mean, anything with Fizbin I kind of enjoy.
I do like
he's a little crazy. I like Fizbin
and
stuff.
I do like, what did you guys think? There is a foreword by Fizbin, and it's very lighthearted. Right?
I like that idea.
I do like the idea that we're going to kind of play a lot of fun
because
here.
These are supposed to be the chronicles from Astinus.
Yeah.
You know, he slipped in and just kind of, hey, you want to add something for me, buddy?
Yeah.
Because they're friends.
Right. And so then we get to the first story, Kitty Ara's Son, right? And we're just going to go through it.
Yeah, we'll spoil it with a title. Okay.
Isn't that kind of their standard operating procedure from
and this
the books?
the first story in this book has titles. The chapters have titles. And then the rest don't.
I did not.
It just stops.
Yeah, it just stops.
I did not notice that at all.
It's almost like a bunch of loose leaflets of different stories were just stapled together and submitted. Like
they were.
And here we got it.
Like I said, it's that like once a month they'd be like, we're just gonna talk. Let's write this one out quick and move on.
But no, we're back. It's opening in Solace again, like we're used to for the first book of of one of these trilogies, or I guess.
This one's a standalone, like it never went anywhere. Well, I guess Summerflame plays into it, but
they're consistent.
Yeah. Kitty Ara's Son, Chapter 1, The Strange Request of a Blue Dragon Rider. So we start off with cool drawings. I like the drawings in this book.
Yeah.
They're few and far between, but they're always nice. They add something.
It's a different guy this time around. It's Ned Dameron.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's not was it Michael? Not what, Michael Williams?
No, Michael Williams
The
is
other
the
one.
poet laureate.
Larry Elmore.
Yeah. Elmore usually does the
not
covers. Let's actually, while we're on Larry Elmore, let's talk about this cover.
Yeah.
Who's on this cover?
Well, nobody knows, but as soon as you start reading the book,
Yes. It's obviously Steele.
obviously Steele. After you read,
Why would that be Kitiara? A lot of people are saying that's Kitiara.
He's manly as heck. There's no way.
Well,
Yeah.
but no,
standing
behind him.
They're saying standing behind him is Kitiara?
A lot of people.
You guys have a different version.
That's the different version.
Oh, you're
I
looking
have-
at the new one.
I have Steele, Palin, and a
So the old version.
blonde elf.
The old version
Oh.
has what is obviously Kitiara's dragon, I would say, or the dragon
and
they ride in this
adult
book.
Steele and his mother behind him, who's been dead.
I'm gonna say that
No, that's Sarah.
I'm gonna say that it's Sarah and that Larry Elmore maybe didn't get the forward that hey it's not Kitiara. We're doing this thing with Kitiara's son and he painted Kitiara with her son. I don't know. Maybe it's just
No, you guys are. It's Sarah.
It definitely is.
That's not. Kitiara had Dragon Rider armor.
Oh, okay.
She's not wearing Dragon Rider armor.
So Sarah
But
looks
in the book, she is.
Sarah looks very similar in painting style with Elmore.
Yeah, I would have given her different hair.
Yeah, because
Because it's just
that Sigourney Weaver hair.
yeah
stands out.
just like Kitiara had.
Or who's the girl from Escape from New York? That's who she looks like. I think. I don't remember what that actress's
What's
name
Escape
is.
from New York?
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking
Escape
about.
from New York.
Yeah. What do you...
Escape from New York, the movie with directed by John Carpenter.
No.
I don't.
Yeah,
Is it what is it? Is it sci-fi?
It's
or like
Snake.
aliens?
Kurt Russell plays Snake.
Snake Plissken, he's got the eye patch, and it's like a future world where there was Escape from New York and Escape from L.A.
This sounds.
This is a generational gap, definitely.
Yeah, I was gonna
Adrian
say...
Bardot.
Barbeau.
There it
A guy
is.
named Snake with an eye patch. I go to Metal Gear Solid.
Yep, that's what I was
That's who he's
thinking.
based. That's who the dude from Metal Gear Solid is based on.
Oh no kidding.
Well, anyway,
Cool.
Adrian Barbeau, I believe, more than Sigourney Weaver, should be Kit. So
anyway, on my
on to things that matter.
soft cover version of the book.
Yeah, the soft cover.
I have Steele, I have Palin, and then like a blonde elf, which I guess I haven't gotten into the rest of the book. I don't know who that is, but also, there is talks of Steele holding Sturm's sword in this book.
Yes.
But there's a stupid barcode on this, and I can't be too like critical. I got this, Bob. You gave me this book because you
could peel that barcode off.
I started to. You can
You
see
give it.
Oh.
You give it here. I'm
You can
peeling
see
it off
where
right now.
you can see where I
know-
started to peel it over the sword.
You know what? You know what that is?
Yes.
Is it's
Damn it.
That's what I was trying not to do.
it's
Bob.
it's the main kids of our heroes.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
that's
Tannis's
Tannis's kid.
Oh, okay.
That's Tannis's whiny little kid who caves to crap.
He even looks whiny. Look at
I
how
was gonna
he's
say,
standing.
yeah, he looks like he's...
I'm gonna be a man.
I want to punch him just looking at this
But
painting.
okay, so
Yeah.
I guess
I know I'm 15,
Gilfus.
which means I'm 6 in elf years, but I'm a man.
the
up and go to
sword
your room.
was covered up by a barcode sticker, so that didn't really give too much away.
I didn't do
about-
any justice to that.
about what's going on with this blue dragon or this black paladin of Takesis. But once we got into Palin and starting to just mention Raceland, all I had to do was flip back to the cover to see he has the staff of Magius.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
true.
And then I'm like, oh, well, that's a bit of a spoiler. Okay.
So
And he's wearing robes.
So fittingly, it's autumn. The wizards are holding a conclave in the towers of Wayreth. Solus is the last stop. So lots of wizards are moving through Solus. I kind of like this. Most come to bring a token of remembrance for Raceland, who died over 20 years ago. We see Kryn is now much more comfortable with magicians and what they do and magic. I mean, Solus is basically this open, a little bit more.
They're open.
The end of the last tome is because of Caramon.
Well, but they're not trying to kill them anymore.
Oh, right.
So, and then we get to the trailer park in the trees. So we've got Caramon and
But this isn't the
And
trailer
Tika-
park.
No,
of the trees.
they're well off now.
They're well off now.
They only,
Caramon's he's a little heavy, but he's still fit. We're not back to drunken sloth hair.
No, and Tika's
Caramon.
still looking super hot, a little thicker, but in a hot way.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
They
Ain't
own
nothing
the
wrong
inn.
with that.
They own the inn now, don't they? Where they are running the inn for Orin.
So first question, is it good for a recovering alcoholic to be carrying around casks of ale and owning a bar?
To tell you the truth, and we've talked about this, but we actually talked about this, Bob, when you brought this up earlier off microphone. I have actually known multiple old alcoholics who have sobered up and still run bars.
it's the scene they like. So if they run the bar, they don't drink the product, but they still get the scene.
It's the
Hang
Kenny
out.
Chesney song, "The Good Stuff," where he goes in and he drinks milk with the bartender after he gets into a fight with his woman.
We're all kinds of country today.
Yeah, apparently.
So we get this weird thing where Caramon and Tika are getting all frisky and frolicky with each
Hey,
other.
the kids are away.
Yeah,
They get to have a little bit of fun.
When all of a sudden this woman shows up, and she's this blue dragon rider. She's coming in under the cover of night because otherwise she could be stoned because she is still a dragon rider.
Oh yeah, they still hate them.
Yeah.
They still remember.
Yeah, this is like Nazis
Oh, yeah,
stepping
it
into
hasn't.
Western Europe, right?
It has not been long enough for them to forget about the Dragon Riders.
Yeah. She says she needs the help of Caramon Magero, the hero of the Lance.
Okay, I cannot remember who was the one that was like, no, we can't help them. We have to go. We're busy. We have to go. I gotta go get busy. Shut up! Don't let them in.
Tika didn't want to.
That's right. It was Tika.
But
Tika was
Which is very fitting for Tika's
as
character.
soon
Yeah,
as and Caramon really wasn't into it either, because as soon as Tika very bluntly told him let's talk, the kids are asleep.
Yeah, the kids are asleep.
I was hoping we could
have
stay
the
up
house
and
to
talk.
we have the house to ourselves tonight.
Right.
Want to stay up and talk. And after we had just gotten this
I'm
huge,
pretty tired.
Actually, after we had just gotten this huge description of of Cougar Tika.
Yeah.
Cougar Tika running the bar where she's a little older and she's a little bigger, but she's still flaunting her wares.
Just bigger where it matters.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Even the young, what was the comment in there? Even the young men admire her.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So, yeah, as soon as...
How old is everybody here? We're like, what, 45, 50?
That's where I thought they were at.
sad.
Did it say like that's 20 years or something in the
I
future?
don't remember exactly how long it was, but I mean,
Because the kids are at least 20.
Kids are at least 20.
Raceland's been dead for 25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's what they keep saying. I think it's
Yeah.
25.
So yeah, they must be around 40s.
Yeah,
50s.
something like that.
Yeah, what their oldest is 24, so like he basically came back from, the Twins trilogy.
Well, he comes,
I know,
he comes
there
back
was-
from the past all ripped up. Of course, Tika's going to jump on him. Oh my God, you look like the man I fell in love with again. Rawr.
Right. But anyway,
Ching, there's a baby.
this woman shows up at
Let's
the
forget
door.
about the last time we talked about Tika on this podcast, and she was 8.
Yeah, yeah, that was gross. So the woman says, "Hey, this is about Kitiara." So chapter 2, her name is Sarah Dunstan. I don't like the name. I don't like Sarah Dunstan.
The names in this do fall short.
It
Well, and
doesn't
we've-
fit into the universe.
And we've talked about this with various people in this universe, whereas when we try to bring in, because we talked about Duncan the Dwarf.
Yeah.
When we try to bring in real Earth names
What is up with
to this fantasy
word?
realm, it kind of pulls you out.
I agree.
What is up with the names that start with a D? We didn't like either.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them that were kind of like, eh.
Yeah, but Sarah Dunstan, for some reason, it pulled me out, and I didn't love it too much.
Doesn't
But
roll off
anyway,
the tongue.
she said she lived with Kitiara for 5 years before the War of the Lance, and so Sarah reveals the origin of this baby. Kit showed up sick one day.
But I'll tell you where this comes from, because I had to look this up now that we were talking about this, and we were talking about this. This has got to be Hickman. This has got to be Hickman in his naming structure, because this is Sarah spelled in the original biblical Sarah.
Yeah.
Abraham's wife, matriarch of the Jewish people, strong, independent character. When she cannot have children, she takes the initiative and gives her her maidservant to another person. She actually she adopts kids in the Bible before she has kids of her own, and so this is definitely him pulling his Christian religion back into here, which we saw in the original trilogy.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Is that good?
I guess Sarah then is.
So Kitty R is like Hagar. and stuff like that. Yeah, okay. So anyway, she wanted to terminate this pregnancy because, like, I guess Kit showed up, right? And she's like,
just pissed.
Get it out of me!
Yeah, Kit's
Right.
ready to be done.
And very sick.
Very sick, right? But they convince her not to terminate it because it would kill her.
And that's the only reason why she's okay with it.
Right. So she has the baby and leaves it in Sarah's keeping. And then we get the big reveal that the baby's name Steel Brightblade and Sturm is the father. Thoughts on this? Sturm being the father.
This weirded me out.
I don't know about
I completely thought that that Kitiara's kid was going to be Tanis's bastard child.
Yep, that's what I thought too.
I thought it was going to play on that a lot more. It's brought up and dropped very quickly.
Yeah, it one chapter maybe of Caramon going, maybe it's Tanis.
And so I'm going to weirdly say that besides Sarah Dunstan, I'm actually liking a lot of this so far. And I thought it was actually a really good twist.
Yeah.
That it was Steel Brightblade.
It was.
Yeah.
Now,
because you have this this fall of Sturm, where Sturm is the one character throughout all of this that has in some way never been defiled. He's never had a gray area.
Yeah.
Right? And all of a sudden he does. There was this, and not for long, it was a very brief, maybe again, the Christian origin is like David, right? A very brief lapse in judgment with Bathsheba or something like where he saw her and was like, oh my God. Like Kit was coming on strong to him. How could you resist Kit?
It's Kit, and the only reason she's coming on to him
is because they're alone in the woods together.
No, not even. It's,
No, she
it's
doesn't.
because he's bossing her around, so she goes, you know what? Screw you. I'm gonna bang and ruin. I'm going to ruin your view of yourself.
Yeah.
Your pure innocent self.
I'm going to take your power away from you.
Yeah,
I like that part.
Yeah,
I like that read on it.
I mean, that's basically what she does. She destroys him, and he wants. Then all of a sudden, he's like, you know what? I have to marry you now. All those things.
Yes.
He just goes, screw you.
And this, all of this does feel like, I'm going to put this idea out there right now, and then we can keep coming back to it as we go through this book. It has good ideas. It has good plot threads, but it feels like a trilogy that was downgraded to a single book.
Oh, very good. Yes, I agree because when we'll get to it, but when this story of Steel is done, I'm ready for more. Yeah. I'm like, well, so where is this going? Nowhere is the answer.
Well, now I know, and now that's just reinforcing. I did not know that. I'm only read through where we're going to end this episode.
Yeah.
But now that you say that, it's just reinforcing my theories.
Yeah. All of these stories are their own individual stories.
This is like a glorified. This is glorified tales. This is a glorified tales. Great, a nice idea to say, hey, let's see what all the kids are doing, but weird idea to make a complete novel, call it second generation, and not tie it into any greater arc.
Yeah. Well, and I kept waiting too, where, again, this was another one. It's this time of year. I'm listening to this while I'm running with the dog.
Right.
Where I didn't realize that these were tales. Like
I didn't.
I just kept going on that.
They kind of fool you. You don't realize it until you're halfway through the book. Like, okay, wait, none of these are connected.
Yeah, I'm like, so I'm waiting for. Okay, so we went through the Steel story.
Yeah.
We go through the story of we go through the Palin story. We go through the story of the brothers. I'm waiting for. Okay, when's the big team up going to come?
See,
we've gone through we've gone through Iron Man, we've set up Thor, we kind of set up Hulk.
Right.
When's the team up coming? When's the band?
I'm completely with you. Yeah,
that's what the foreword was about. That's why I had no issue with it. Was because that's what Fizbin is talking about. How it's just a bunch of tales.
And see what I thought it was a funny foreword, and didn't read it as And
no,
now, in hindsight, I see.
I took it as Fizbin just saying each of these are its own individual story that like a bard would tell in a bar.
Right.
You know, where they would just kind of be like, hey, here's one story, and then, but wait, I have another story about the great.
I agree.
There's more. I have another adventurous story, and then go from there. And
right.
They, it would just be a repertoire of stories that somebody could tell and could be in any order.
Yeah,
I wanted them to come. I wanted some pinnacle moment where like
you wanted that end game.
I wanted the kids to come together and fight evil,
Yeah,
like their parents
I just want an Avengers.
Right.
Well, and even like Tanis shows up and
cries.
Tanis shows up as Hank Pym in the background. Caramon's there as as
Tanis is Hank Pym crying because he got his suit stolen.
Exactly.
Why'd you steal my suit?
Exactly. Caramon shows up as one of the Guardian, what as Sylvester Stallone is one of the old Guardians of the Galaxy. This is what I wanted.
That was
the
so
team
good.
up.
Wow.
Stryker. That was his name, Stryker.
But we see in Chapter 3 that Steel grows up with this duality within him, right? He's both dark and light. He likes hearing stories of war, all of that kind of stuff.
Everything good he does has a tinge of evil to it, and everything evil he does has a tinge of good to it.
Right. He is he's Ray.
What
He's balance.
What are they saying about there's a battle in his own blood? He's a very interesting character that I actually dug Steel.
Yeah. I like Steel. I'm okay with his origins. I'm waiting for him to go somewhere. Again, I'm saying this is no knowledge of what Summer Flame is going to be about. But I'm really hoping that all of this goes somewhere because I do like Steel.
I like the idea of Steel.
Right.
But I don't think that I don't think it's done justice here.
No.
Because I like the idea of Steel, but he's too stereotypically the divorced child of the 70s.
Yeah.
He's pulled up in the Camaro. He's Woody Wooderson from Dazed and Confused. He's still like creeping around the high school a little bit.
Stranger Things.
Yeah.
The lifeguard. The lifeguard from Stranger Things.
Yes, the lifeguard from Stranger Things. Yes. That's even better.
Billy.
Hey, Billy. But it's just, he's possessed, but there's still good in it. But I just don't. We didn't give him enough. We didn't give it enough time for him to be fleshed out.
Vader.
Right.
There's still good in him.
Which we actually, I know on
We know Margaret Weiss, though, is a huge fan of Star Wars, and the tropes of Star Wars show up a lot in these books.
That's because it's the hero's. It's the hero's journey.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of Steel. I like the idea of. Okay, they got to kidnap him quick before he takes his final oath.
Right.
I think that's a really neat idea. I like the whole build-up that we're going to here as they're setting up to kidnap him. And like I said, I love Old Man Caramon.
So let's talk
Old
about
Man Caramon who shows up to Tanis's door with Sarah and goes, I evidently have a nephew, and he's about to completely turn to the dark side. You want to stage a kidnapping with me? And I'm just picturing like these two 50-year-olds.
Tanis's door.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Sarah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, with Sarah.
With Sarah.
Right.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, this is my nephew's adopted mom. Evidently, I'm sorry, this is Sturm. Yeah, this is my nephew's adopted mom. Evidently, Kit banged Sturm, and now there was a kid. He's going to go to the dark side.
That's the last thing he mentions, though. Like he's going on and on about all those, and Tanis is like, I don't know why I need to help you with any of this. It's like, well, Kit might have banged Sturm. And then that's when Tanis is like flips the table. Let's go!
But there's still that moment. There's still that moment where we really, before we've met Steel in there too, where we really don't know. And I believe Caramon's strain of logic here, where I need to bring Tanis with me because there's a good chance that my lying liar of a liar sister lied.
Oh yeah. This might be Tanis's.
There's a good chance we're gonna show up and this kid's got slightly pointed ears with a beard.
Right. Well, because we should say it's because he's taken by the Knights of Takhisis. So we have these Knights of Takhisis that are still around. I like this idea. I mean, you have this massive takeover of the world by Takhisis. There would be people left around who these are the neo-Nazis.
Yeah.
They're left around.
I know we had some a Facebook comment about the fact that how can there be evil knights? Knights are supposed to be men of honor, but we can have honor and still be evil.
The Black Knight, though, is it's part of mythology. Of course there's evil knights.
It's Vader, it's any of those things where they have rules.
Vader is a dark knight, for sure.
What was it Brennan that I was in the conversation with on Facebook talking about honor?
Yeah, I believe so.
But we got into the check out our Facebook page. We got into a conversation on Facebook in the comment section dealing with honor, and we have to we have this idea that honor necessarily has to be a good thing. Honor is a good thing if you're honoring your good God. If you're honoring
more of a code.
Yes.
Yeah.
However,
It's more like guidelines.
well, yes.
Yeah, right.
If you have a good God, you are bringing honor to your God by doing good deeds, by doing good things, by being a good person. If you have a dark God, you bring honor to your God by doing dark things.
Yeah, so you can be very honorable serving Takesis, but what she wants you to do is evil. But you still can maintain your code and your honor while trying to serve your God.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I completely get this.
Yeah, and it's very interesting, and it's very interesting to see the Sturm-like qualities of Steel right away when we first meet him.
Yeah,
And even Caramon has a moment there where he chokes on his own breath because he sees Steel and he thought it was Sturm for a minute.
Yeah, it's that
Yeah.
pause of like from the back you see and go, wait, is he still? Oh god.
But so Steel has been kidnapped, or I shouldn't say kidnapped. The 3 riders come right for him. The Nazgul.
Yeah.
They come to take him, right? And we find out that they've been sent by Ariaken, the son of Ariakis from the previous trilogy.
Because if we're doing second gen, let's go all the way.
Let's go all the way, right? Yep, for sure.
Oh, he has such a cool origin story, though. What is he? He's the spawn of Takesis' son. What is it?
For what's that? Ariakis?
Ariaken had relations with Takesis' spawn.
It's a weird.
It's a whole succubus.
It's almost like he's a demigod.
He banged a demon.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Like a high demon. Too.
Yeah. So pretty much Ariaken is a demigod at this point.
As evil as Ariakis was, he mated with something evil-er.
And again,
Well, he made it with Ariakis was still human.
Yeah.
and super cool. So I'm thinking, okay, we're setting up our bad for the book. Like, very cool setup.
Yep.
I like all this.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome to go through the entire book with this big bad.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Which we're promptly going to ignore in about 40 pages.
And about 40, but I agree. So, and I like this whole thing with Sarah deciding, hey, I have to go and become Ariaken's lover in order to protect my son. Like, I need to be close to him, so I'm going to go in, give myself over like a mistress.
Well, and that's
right?
and that's the mother trope. That is the I will do anything for my son. I will do anything for my again. It's I like the idea here of Sarah, and I like the idea of what she's doing and the sacrifices that she's making for her non-blood son.
Yeah.
And especially when you look at when the book was written, or you look at like a lot of tropes and things that go throughout science fiction or mythology or theology. There is that idea of that adopted mother who sacrifices herself so much for, whether it's the princess that found Moses in the basket, or any of these ideas of the adopted mother, where I like what they're, and this has definitely got to be Margaret. This idea of driving home that family doesn't necessarily have to be blood.
Right. No, I do like that. So let's set up the time clock, what's going on here, right? In 3 days' time, Steel is going to take an oath and give his soul over to the Knights. Sarah needs Caramon's help to stop it. They're going to bring that boy to the High Claris Tower to talk to his dead daddy, because he needs to talk to Sturm, because Sturm's bright soul is going to, vanquish the evil within him,
it has some sort of powers that can,
We got to grab Draco before he
joins the Death Eaters.
He joins the Death Eaters and bring him to Dumbledore.
I will say I love this.
And figure out that Snape is actually good.
I love this next. I think it might have been the next chapter where they were talking about Caramon getting ready and how Tika is just like, no, go. And Tika is the one really that pushes Caramon to do this. Caramon doesn't really want to go at first.
I agree. Yep.
It's one of those where Tika is sitting there just pestering him because she's like, if he thinks about it, he won't go. I'm just going to keep pestering him until he leaves.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you get like an insight into like Caramon's mind about how he actually is fairly smart. He considers
long time to change.
He considers far too many points of view before he makes a decision.
I'm gonna call BS on a lot of that, though. I agree, but if you read back through the trilogy, I don't know that Caramon a lot of times comes off as like, I'm considering things.
I believe it because Raceland's his brother, and Raceland is so smart.
Yeah.
So
Caramon is equally smart, just considers things too long.
Just not as fast as Raceland.
Well, and this idea too of
or he barrels headlong into things.
I don't know if I want to leave my family, and Tika's like, I'm not listening to you. I'm not listening to you whine about what.
I let that girl go. I don't know what happened to her. Just go.
Right. Yeah. And I love that Tika's
and again, this is the middle-aged married couple who the kids have now left the house.
Right.
And they're just like,
well, they have 2 younger daughters. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they have the 2 younger daughters, but I could definitely see this between like, go on a trip with your buddy and go have a quick little adventure. I'm sick of seeing you for a while.
Go fishing with him.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You're
as long
fine.
As it makes you shut up.
The girls and I will be fine. Go.
Okay, let's go through a bunch of this all together. Yes. So chapter 5 and chapter 6, we have Tanis, like Caramon, or they're gonna go see Tanis. So Tanis, half elven, has an unpleasant surprise. I actually hate that little thing. But
we could really okay. So they get on the dragon, they ride out there, they pick him up, they go to.
Hold on, we got to talk about Tanis's dweeby kid.
Yes, we have to.
When we get there,
he's not in this part of the book, though, is he?
Yeah, he showed because he's sitting there, like just wiping his nose and
that's right,
peeing himself.
Like I said, what I'm getting at here with like the riding of the dragon is like already like the dragon has like a saddle.
Yeah.
What do you think the saddle? I'm just kidding. What do you think?
What does the saddle look like?
But really, what do you think the saddle looks like?
There's drawings of it in all these modules.
Well, to be fair, is this a double saddle?
There's room for like a person on this, and then like later on, there's 4 people riding this dragon.
I think Brendan did Brendan bring this up or did
I don't remember. But this is like something like a la like Game of Thrones.
Justin brought this up, I think, where he was like, "This dragon could not carry all these people."
Or it's gonna be like Khaleesi riding the dragons in Game of Thrones. Like that's gotta hurt. You're just sitting on bony scales.
Yeah, as you fly across Kryn, for hours. I don't know.
What's the wind? It's not like you have a windshield on a dragon. Either. It's cold.
We do talk. Like, they can't talk while they're on it because it's just like you have all the windows down in the car.
Yeah, riding by dragon would suck.
This one on the
it would be awesome, but it would suck.
On a nice balmy summer day.
Yeah.
This dragonling on the cover
is about the same size as steel.
It's perspective. He's far away on a rock.
No, he's not.
It's more of a worm.
Go back to one of the scenes that we loved from the original trilogy.
Massive dragons.
But one of the scenes we loved from the original trilogy was Flint and Tass on a dragon.
Yeah,
riding around. Flint and Tass couldn't fit on this dragon.
No, on the hardcover version of this, no.
Yeah. So we meet Tanis.
Right along.
They land Tanis and Lorana's kids up.
Well, they do talk about how it's not actually that he is. It's that Tanis's kid has too much of a human in him and is always exploring, and they are sheltering him too much.
Right.
No. And to be fair, this is learned behavior.
Yeah.
This is pedagogy 101. Teaches you that if you lock your kid in his room with his video games all the time, and don't let him go out and see the sunshine, and don't let him go out and do things, he's going to become a whiny little bastard.
Yeah,
that's what he becomes.
He does.
I'm a man.
I don't want to hear.
Or he'll become interested in computers and make a career out of it. I was never locked in a room.
Yeah, but
see, that's the thing. If you're voluntarily in your room, there's a different thing.
I'm introverted. I'm not a prisoner.
Yeah, exactly. Helicopter parents out there, take note. Your kid needs to go to the park every once in a while by himself.
Yeah, it's true.
The amount of it is that idea, and even back when this was written, I think this is
for sure
a push on, and it's a shot.
It's on 80s parenting. Then
it's on sure. If you give the kid a trophy all the time, and if you make sure that he thinks he's a winner and he thinks he's great, nobody's and this is completely on Tanis and Lorana, because nobody is training this kid to deal with his mixed heritage.
No.
And he's got human, and we're gonna find that out later in this book. Is everything kind of goes to and up in the air and around, because nobody's trained this kid to deal with his emotions. It's hard enough to grow up being a teenager, much less a teenage boy of mixed race, and nobody's talked to him about any of this. They're just like, "You're good. Just go sit in your room and read a book."
Well, yeah, and I have thoughts on that already without even having read that part of the book. But let's save it for that part of the book.
Yeah, for sure.
So we pick up Tanis.
Chapter 6, Fortress of Storm's Keep.
Storm's Keep. That's
what
it is. Yeah.
Cool. Such a cool description of Storm's Keep.
Yeah.
I just see, I see the lightning coming by. There is a quick moment here though where I see, the scene from The Wizard of Oz before they're sneaking into the witch's castle.
I saw this the whole time. I did. I saw
Wizard
leaning
of Oz over the cliff watching the
for sure.
I don't want to go in.
Fortress of Storm's Keep. By the way, Larry Elmore got it all wrong because this is black walls. Supposed to be black walls on this
Ned
fortress.
Dameron.
Yeah. Larry Elmore on this one.
Oh, on that one.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. Yours, there's no fortress on it, is there?
Sorry. No.
Yeah. No. They land, they're immediately...
The back of the soft cover's pleasant.
Yeah, pretty.
Which is weird. So they land, they're immediately questioned by a goblin, but Sarah orders him around and threatens him. So from this point on, there's a hot second where I think Sarah is duplicitous. And I don't believe that she is who she says she is. Because she lands, and I get it now, she has lived here for so long that being with Ariakan, she has prestige and the kind of the honor of being his mistress, right? So she's able to...
she's powerful.
She's powerful. She's able to order people around. But for a little second here, I was like, you know what? They're going to use Tanis and Caramon for something else. For a second there, I do think that she is going to in some way betray them.
Well, and see, I kind of agree with you because I caught Dune here.
Yeah.
She's Muad'Dib.
Yeah.
But she's the mistress. She's not really the wife. She doesn't have the full power of the wife, but she's the mistress and she's been respected. And, Sturm and
She's respected to her face.
Yes.
Behind her back, though, they're still insulted.
And when was the last time we actually had a conversation with a goblin? Was it Toadstool Trash Heap or whatever the hell his name was?
Yeah, gosh.
Toad.
Toad.
It was Toad.
Yeah, Toad.
It was
I'm like,
Toad.
it's Toad something.
Really?
Yeah.
That was the last time we've actually heard a goblin talk.
Yeah, right.
Goblin.
Huh. Yeah. And there's also Toadie from the Gummy Bears.
Gummy Bears! Bouncing here and there and everywhere. High adventure that's beyond compare. They are the Gummy Bears.
And let's not forget about Princess Peach's most trusted advisor, Toad.
That's true. Toad.
There's a lot of toads, right? But anyway, chapter 7. Why have you never asked? I don't know. That's what the name of the chapter is. So they go to Sarah's house. They make some stew.
She puts a little bit of that special stuff in the stew.
I love the reversal here because Tanis is like, Sarah, what's your plan?
Wait, hey.
I haven't had to come up with one in so long.
Hold on a sec, guys. Do you notice something?
Oh, just wait.
Tanis.
There's more.
Yeah.
Tanis didn't come up with this plan, and it works.
Yeah.
They actually kidnap Steel, and it actually works. Tanis
she's gonna drug Steel. Steel's gonna come in. She's mixing a sleeping drug into the stew. She's she's giving him a roofie.
That's what she's doing.
Hey, Ma. But yeah, and again, think of this. Think of this situation. With Steel coming in here, these two guys are like hiding behind the curtain.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, it's more of like a curtain door. They're in the other room.
Right. Yeah.
I know,
but it has holes in it, and they got their eyes up to it like nobody's going to see that.
And they're talking.
Yeah, they're talking to each other. It's a really thick curtain. It's like stage curtains.
But yeah, and Sturm comes in. Hey, Ma. Got some stew?
Steel, you mean?
Steel
comes in, yeah.
Steel comes in.
Sturm.
Hey, Ma, you got some stew?
And she's all talking. They're talking about the conversion. I wish you wouldn't do it and all this kind of stuff.
Don't do this. I can help you.
I see actually a lot, like we've been talking about, there's a lot of honor and there is good in Steel as she's talking to him. And I feel, boy, this plan could backfire in a hurry. If this poisoning or this sleeping potion doesn't work, well, now you've just pushed Steel to the other side. For sure. 100% for sure.
And she does talk like this is her last option. She knows that if it doesn't work, he
she's dead to him.
Well, and we have to remember here too. I think we glossed right over it. The reason that Steele is here,
we gloss over nothing,
is because Ariakis, when Steele was like 8, showed up and somehow figured out what was going on.
Yeah,
here.
Kit told him.
Yeah, Kit told him. So Ariakis shows up at the door when Steele's like 8 and takes. That's how they've gotten the ranks for the Knights. Is they've showed up and they're stealing children.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
they're the Jedi.
I wouldn't say they're stealing. They asked for
the Empire is
volunteers.
stealing children for stormtroopers.
No, they're taking children.
I thought it was more they asked because he couldn't.
Well, you can volunteer or you can come.
Well,
either way, you're getting in the van.
I thought Ariakin though went to find him because they knew it was Raceland.
Yes.
Or not Race.
Kitiara.
Kitiara's.
Yeah, that's what it was.
They do, but I always got the feeling that they're grabbing other kids to cover it up as well.
Okay.
See,
he was a person of interest.
Yes. Yeah, they've been grabbing kids from across the countryside this entire 25 years here, or whatever, to fill their ranks, like the stormtroopers.
Right.
I always took it as they would approach them when they were like at that age where they're rebellious towards like their parents and be like, "Hey, you want to say screw the country, screw your leaders? Join us. We're going to form a knighthood and do that." That's how I took it.
Oh, see, this is feudal society. This is feudal society. The guys from the castle show up. We're taking your kids, and they're going to come over to the castle, and they're going to be.
As long as you raise them together.
I'm with you,
and they
Paul.
all have
I'm
the
actually with you,
same-
Paul. I think it was the opposite of that.
I
think it's an ideological joint. You're joining ideologically.
The table is
You're not. You're not.
I don't.
You're not.
I
You're
don't
being
think so.
taken at 8 years old, thrown in a dorm, and eventually that's your ideology.
I don't.
You
It
can't
is
be.
happening.
Stormtroopers are just stormtroopers. They're not so much. They're not a knight. They're not a Jedi knight. They aren't.
I felt the
like
Knights
you
of
have to be
Takhisis were
convinced.
ideological.
No, that's
group.
not the description that was in the book. The description was in the book was
they're raised.
They're raised.
And
there.
how do kids like?
I know.
Well,
I know. I'm evil and I love Takhisis. Like,
I was taking this as the remnants of the army of Takhisis that is now having
it's
kids.
those like extras.
No,
that were
they're
still
picking
alive,
up kids from
things
farmers.
Like that. I'm still pretty sure that they're convincing the kids to.
We
join.
will be illuminated on Facebook.
They're taking
Klab and I will be
vindicated, probably.
Yes, they're taking kids when they're like 8 to 10 years old, and they're taking them and raising them in, and now taking them, throwing them in dormitories, and raising them to be squires and knights within Takhisis.
I just remember
because
them
it makes
about how they
mention.
convinced him to they convinced
Because that's
the people to join.
because that's not how they take Steel. Steel isn't taken that way.
He's a kid though. What convincing does he need?
Exactly. So what convincing do they need to take the other kids? So it's one of those.
There's no convincing involved.
We're talking about the same thing then.
I know. I agree.
You convince the kids to go, but they're kids and they can't make the decision for themselves. Hey, you know what?
Get in the van.
Hey,
exactly. Where's Davy? I don't know. A bunch of black knights. Davy just walked out of the house because Davy just walked out of the house because he got spanked for touching the hot pie before it was time, and hate my parents. I'm gonna run away. I'm gonna do this, and a bunch of guys happen to show up soon after this and go, "Do you want to leave your parents?" Yeah, I want to leave my parents. That's up Lost Boys.
Hey kid, you want to ride a dragon? Yeah.
Speaking of riding dragons, it works.
Davy, come back. You're not allowed to do that. Shut up. I'm with the knights now.
Davy,
That's basically what it is. But they are saying they are willing to go. The kids are willing to go.
Not Lost Boys, but the deleted scene from Pinocchio. Where they're all smoking cigars.
Oh, yeah.
They're in the evil place.
What were those boys called? I know what you're. Yeah, I don't know.
Pinocchio, kid lies.
I've seen Pinocchio. I've never seen a deleted scene for Pinocchio. VHS tapes didn't have a menu.
It was just too much drug use in that. So they drug Steel. He falls asleep. They get him on the back of this dragon. So now there's 4 of them on the back of this dragon.
And one of them's unconscious. Do you know how hard it is to move an unconscious body?
I will say, I love how they get him past the other night. Where it's just like, yep, another one for the clerics, the knights that were play fighting.
The training went really hard.
Yeah, training was really hard.
Even if he was injured, he's not the only one.
Right. And because it's Sarah, she has a lot of clout, so she can get him past.
She has clout, and she planned this thing out.
Right.
well.
Yes.
Yeah, she's had it ready.
This
to go.
whole thing had to happen tonight.
And this is where I come back around to like, okay, I guess maybe she's not duplicitous. I guess this was all working.
But again, yes, so we jumped to Chapter 8, the High Clearest Tower. But again, before we even get to Chapter 8, I have so many physics problems with this. First off, we're putting 4 people on the back of a dragon.
Yeah, we've established that's stupid.
We've established, but again, one of them is an unconscious body.
Yep.
An unconscious body is pure dead weight.
Right.
How are you? Give me a little information here, Weis and Hickman, on how you're strapping his unconscious body to the dragon.
Well, if she planned everything out, and she should have had in her plan, like maybe I'll be chased for a while by dragon riders. They could have had at least one other dragon ready to go.
Have you ever tried to?
No, she has at least 5 toe straps. They're okay.
Have you ever tried to carry an unconscious body, though? It is super difficult, even if you have a couple.
You got Caramon and Tanis. Tanis probably cried about it. But
I should probably. In case you've missed it on previous podcasts, Paul and I also both work in the EMS field, so that's why we know about unconscious bodies.
And I've sometimes hung out at a bar, so I also know about unconscious bodies.
Unconscious bodies are funny, are hard to.
But anyway, the High Clearest Tower, they make it there. Steel awakens.
How fortuitous is this, though? Oh, that was the exact right dosage, so he awakens after they land. Can you imagine if Steel awakened on the dragon in mid-flight?
Yeah, this could be a problem.
Plummets to the ground. Well, there's that problem solved.
Oh, well.
Tanis jumps right in here and just tells Steel everything. Hey, so this woman came, told us she was crazy. So you're the son of Sturm.
How would you like to have just been drugged, get woken up? You know there's probably some after effect from the drug. You're still loopy as out, get out, and all of a sudden told, hey, Sturm's your dad, your mom is the one that drugged you.
They talk about like the hangover from the drug, though.
Yeah.
Where it's like I can't remember what words they used, but then it's like the fury, the anger he gets from his mother, like clears it.
Right.
But you're a knight, or you're going to be a knight.
Squire.
You're a fighter. How do you not come out swinging?
I don't know.
Yeah.
This whole thing.
I just wanted the scene here.
He has a the relationship with his mother, I think, is very well explained.
He seems very measured. He's very in control. He's like Samurai in a lot of ways. He's very controlled.
But he's still a teenager.
His dad.
I get from the conversation he had with Sarah before she drugged him. He seems to be a person who is above his years in terms of his attitude.
I wanted him
discipline.
more pissed off because I wanted the ability. I wanted the actual physicality of Caramon. This is why Caramon's here.
Yeah, that's
is the actual physicality of Caramon where he
Sit down.
Where he wakes up and goes after his mother or goes after something. Caramon just grabs him and sets him down.
Speaking of people who are here, I'm glad Caramon's here. Can't stand that Tanis is here because once again, he just blathers everything to him. Like, I mean, this could be a real detriment. Like, Tanis is really doing a stupid thing here. He just wakes up, tells him everything. I'm like, shut up, Tanis, you unwise 200-year-old. Like, I can't stand him.
And we're going to go to your dad's grave because I think you might have a vision.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Whatever.
And Steel just agrees.
How else are you going to get him to
that is true.
come with you?
I get the idea of you're going to take him to his father's grave, and that hopefully this will convert him. Like, know who you are and the honor that you come from, right? I like that. But Tanis ruins a lot of this for me, and it should be better than it is.
I don't understand this gripe with Tanis.
And what I hate is we're saying we have made it out of the freaking Evilville. We've made it all the way to Clearest Tower, and all of a sudden, this is the point that Tanis breaks down and is like, this whole plan's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work.
He keeps aside from all that, but like, okay, you get there.
Oh God, just wait till you get to book 4.
You get there.
My rage will know no end.
You get there, the drugs wear off. He's unarmed.
Yeah.
And these armed men are like, this is what you're going to do, and this is why.
Yeah.
And then he's just kind of like, oh, and it's what he said, like, oh yeah, sure, they'll let me in, like pointing at his dark armor, like, yeah, they'll let me into this place.
Yeah.
And this becomes a whole thing, like, well, and Tanis explains about how he felt in front of Takesis, how just the awe made him want to bow
But
before her.
But Tanis says he thinks none of this will work, and that Steel should turn around and just go home.
Okay, I mean,
I'm like, what?
Why are we here?
All right.
Why are we here? If
Why
this is
did
how
you?
feel?
Why did you bring Tanis? Why is he even here? He's going to destroy all of this.
We kidnapped you. We drug you. You know, this isn't gonna work. Go home.
Yeah, like Tanis.
we snuck behind enemy lines to steal you. Go home.
Don't take the dragon though.
Yeah.
The four of us need to ride him back.
We're taking Flair home. You walk.
Have
Yeah.
fun. Character building.
So the three of them go traipsing out of the woods.
Yep.
Sarah stays with the dragon. The three of them go traipsing out of the woods and just show up at the door and go, "Hi!" And like Tanis flashes his diplomat credits, and all of a sudden everybody's like, "Oh God, okay."
Tanis in his like fancy boots almost falls down the mountain.
Yeah.
Or it's like loafers,
Fancy
like whatever.
boots.
No, there's fancy boots.
I know.
Made more for wandering around his estate than climbing down mountains.
Tanis.
Yeah.
But there's this whole thing.
But again, what Klab just said that like they're able to flash their ID cards, right? But on the way in, again, Tanis is going, I don't know how we're gonna get in. I don't know how we're gonna get in. I'm like,
is it him?
Yeah, it's like you're Caramon and Tanis. Like, how? What do you mean? How are you gonna get in?
And see, I
You
can't.
guys have rank. Pull it.
And actually, I didn't like this part because I wanted them to like sneak in.
Yeah.
Well, you don't just walk up to the front door as, you know, oh, hey, yeah, we're, how's it going? We're The Rock and
yeah,
Jason Statham.
And Jason Statham.
All right.
Who's
Is it
the
cool?
guy with you? Well, we're taking him to see his dead daddy. You know, Sturm.
Yeah.
Is it cool? Is it cool if we just go through the door with Sly's kid?
I mean, but no. This is a whole thing about. Steele says like after Tanis explains everything about the Takesis and how awe-inspiring she was, and he's like, well, if Paladine is like that, and you can get me in there, or he's like waiting for a sign from Paladine.
Yeah.
Oh, I take it as a dare.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
It's a dare.
But
You
then
think your God's so great? Let's see what happens here.
But then they walk up and they talk to like
My God's better than yours.
Wilhelm.
They walk up to the guard at the gate.
Wilhelm.
No, they go and get Wilhelm. The guard.
Oh yeah.
The guard at the gate at first is described as being an idiot for letting a knight of Takesis in, blazoned in like what the axe.
It's got like
rose,
yeah.
He's got everything that
He looks
should
like
have.
Kiss. Like they're dragging in Gene Simmons. It's like who's the bad
they're
guy
dragging
with you?
Gene Simmons into the head church in the Vatican, and the guy at the door's like, okay, and they're like,
He's like, hey, where'd you train, bud? It looks like you're a knight. Where'd you go train there? I want to
salutes him real quick as he's on his way in. They're like,
you have a good one now, bud.
Well, and they're like, well, that guy's an idiot. Then they go and get Wilhelm, and Wilhelm's cool with it. And then that's like, Steele's like, well, I guess that's my sign.
And Wilhelm bothers me. Well, and Wilhelm here is just he's such a fanboy that I expect him to have like the Caramon and Tanis trading cards that he needs to get signed while these guys are here. And then also you named him Wilhelm.
Yeah.
I kept waiting for him to fall off something and
yes, that's exactly what I thought.
That's I honestly I'd mixed up. I didn't even go there because I was so caught up in thinking like I've met Wilhelm before, but I was thinking Gunther.
Oh
Wilhelm
yeah.
Gunther.
Oh, okay.
I guess German names. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, they do feel very kind of Austrian, German. Yes,
German.
for sure.
My name is Wilhelm.
Yeah. Well, we
want to go private. And Tanis is just like, well, we want to go just privately, see our friend. No. You get the full regalia.
Yeah.
I don't want the full regalia. You get the full regalia.
Yeah.
You get all the pomp and circumstance you don't
And
want.
they're just walking up, and Tanis is just like, oh.
Well, Tanis, they enter the sepulcher, right? Finally, they get through. They enter the sepulcher where Sturm's body is, right? And Tanis gives some sort of Tanast prayer. Some sort of thing, right?
Tanis, he is just talking and
to his Sturm's preserved body.
praying.
And then I guess I was not prepared for all of this. Sturm's body appears in like all this light and glory and gives Steel the star jewel.
Yeah.
But this is only a vision that Steel has.
Right.
Well,
This is-
Steel and Tanis and Caramon see it.
I thought
Yes.
so, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they see
but
it.
they're kind of taken out of. It's one of those things where all of a sudden, everybody else, like Professor X, freezes.
Yeah.
And doesn't see anything. They're pulled out of time while Sturm stands in front of his son and gives him the star jewel and like kisses him on the forehead and then disappears.
And the illusion's gone.
And then all hell breaks loose. All the guards go flipping nuts, and there's a fight.
That's because all of a sudden you look down, it's empty armor with the sword sitting there.
They think they've done something with the body.
His magically preserved body has disappeared.
And they finally notice.
That's another thing. Yeah,
They do finally notice then that Steel is not a knight.
Because there'd been like
his armor's black.
He was covered in like a glamour. They didn't know that he
exactly.
had it.
Exactly. Paladin put him in a glamour.
Yeah, so then all of a sudden it's, wait, we have to kill them.
He's
controlling those two. Kill them all.
Yeah, right.
Run away! Because they would never believe that Tanis and Caramon.
And this is a cool escape scene. Like they're fighting their way up the stairs. They get out. Sarah shows up on flare, shooting all kinds of.
Steel grabs his dad's sword right before
that's
he goes.
cool. That's really cool.
Because he's unarmed, he needs something.
Yes.
Right.
They fight their way out. There's a little bit of I don't remember Caramon or Tanis, which one of them is like, Sturm, thank you. Like I saw what you did, and we just need one more favor, dude.
Yeah.
And this gust of wind comes through, blows out all the torches.
We get an interesting kind of drop here about how the dragon's able to get away. We're not sure why, but there was kind of a schism between the dragons. The dragons don't want to go back to fighting.
There's a truce.
There's a truce.
A tentative truce.
So the silver dragons don't want to go after him, or it might be the ghost of Sturm in some way holding him back.
Or Paladine.
Or Paladine. Who knows? Right?
Yeah.
So chapter 11, his father's sword, Tanis and Caramon have a conversation
I'm feeling
about
good here.
what Steel will do.
I'm like, man,
I'm pretty amped, actually, at this point.
See, and I'm amped, but I'm also like, well, what the hell? You are two famous heroes of the lands who just fought your way out of desecrating Sturm's body.
Yeah.
This is going to have a little political backfire on you.
It is, but they do talk about how the guards immediately thought that they were under the Dark Knight's control.
But that's what I'm excited for.
Still, it doesn't matter. You're two 50-year-old heroes of the lands.
But see, that's where I did not realize yet that this was going to be an anthology series. So I'm like, freaking fantastic. Steel has flown in, desecrated the body. We got the aged heroes. They've just flown out of the Death Star. What's Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi going to look like? Like, I'm all excited for what's going to happen.
Yeah,
next.
we're only, like, what? Not even a quarter of the way through this book, and all this is happening. I'm amped.
Yeah, I am too. It's not going to pay off.
and he storms off, and they do keep doing this thing where, Steel will storm off. Sarah feels bad, wants to go after him, and like the guys are like, just give him. Look, we remember what it was like to be a young hothead. Just give him a minute.
But we know that he takes that star jewel, puts it underneath his armor. He hides it, so we know there's this glimmer of hope. So he is still becoming our Darth Vader.
A new hope, almost.
Here. Yeah, ooh. He's becoming our Darth Vader.
Or is he a Phantom Menace?
In this book, he is definitely a Phantom Menace.
Dennis the Phantom.
But chapter 12, we're finishing it out here. His mother's blood. I really like the scene showing the knighting of Steel. It's very cool. Again, I'm feeling like this is the first part of a trilogy that's been done.
Because you jumped over it because of the fact that as they're like leaving, all of a sudden they see a bunch of blue dragon riders out there, and then they're like, "Oh, we got to hide quick."
Well, that flip at the last second, it was written very well.
Yeah. Right.
About how he's like, okay, well, where's the nearest town? And they're like, okay, and they're excited. Yeah, it's only a day from here. We can make it. We can totally make it. And he's like, good, I'm taking the dragon.
Yeah,
and he hops on it and just f's off.
And this again, I'm only amping more with this. I'm like, we are setting up for a really kick rest of this book.
I'm waiting for him to like go off, have like a little bit of like crisis of conscience, a redemption moment, kill his allies, and like
you're just almost reaching right to that edge. You're right at that edge, and then they're just gonna hold back and not let the
coital
finish.
rhythm is off in this book.
All right, you edgelords, let's.
Yeah, so he pieces out to go back.
He's gonna peas.
He pees out.
Pieces.
He pieces up to go back. They're just left.
Pants, goes home.
Yes, they're just left in the woods. And like you said, I'm like, okay, so he's gonna think about it, or he's gonna get to that final moment before the oath, and he's gonna be like, screw this, and like take everybody out.
Start stabbing.
Yeah, we start pumping up, and then he just goes back and lays in the church for a day and takes the oath.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
But it all sounds so cool. This whole
I like a lot of this.
Laying on the cold stone floor, this old crooked witch who comes out, and even like
I liked this.
And you're thinking like there's this moment where she's like,
this is the Quitsack Hatterack.
What did she
right here, like with the whole putting your hand in the box?
Yeah,
kind of thing. That's what I felt like. She puts that fingernail of hers like underneath his chin, like you're gonna kill him. Right, I like.
But what does she? Does she touch the star jewel?
Yeah, she touches
it burns her.
Yeah, right.
And it's there. Or does something burn? Something happens where she's like, "This would not happen to somebody who is fully committed." Or no, nobody who is fully committed to the Dark Queen
could wear this.
Wear this. It would hurt them.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, oh, like now he's gonna like have to kick to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
No.
No.
They're just cool with it.
No, then they call it his curse. Because they always talked about if you know your father's name, you will get a curse. This is then his curse. Yes, it's a good curse, I guess I would say, but
well, again, you have to realize that we're dealing with photo negatives of what we think of a lot of things when we're talking about Takhisis' knights.
Yep.
We're dealing with photo negatives of what we think about as honor, what we think about as curse, what we, so a curse to somebody
cursed with good.
Yes, would be that. And so we have
a poem.
We have this nice little setup. He ends up just going knighted, and then of course we have a poem that means nothing.
I don't even I just at this point don't care. I don't even know.
I skimmed it.
I didn't read it. I was behind on my reading, so
it's nothing.
You didn't miss much.
It's just titled 2. I don't even know.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Sturm's now bad. How about you?
There it is. There it is. And so then we
even though violets are indigo,
but at this point I'm pumped. I'm going, okay, how is all of this going to play out?
But then we cut somewhere else, and like honestly, until we start recording this, and you guys let me know that the rest of this book has nothing to do with any of it.
Yeah,
I had hope.
Yeah, because I don't know because I start reading into this stuff with Palin. I'm like, okay, so we set up our bad guy. We set up what Caramon and everybody's doing. Okay, here comes Palin, who's going to be our magician, who's going to fight him or whatever. Nope. Okay,
we got it. But and again, I keep waiting for that. That moment of you're going to eventually have, like you said, the brothers Magier now are gonna, go up against Steel, and it's gonna be our fathers were brothers.
the cousins Magier.
I had no issue with. I mean, I did not like how
we were cousins, Steel. I hate you.
Okay.
I would have liked it if they could have continued a little bit more at the end of the story, but I was ready for it to be done. As soon as it flipped over to something completely different, I'm like, okay, new tale.
Well, I love the brothers.
I thought it was going to connect again.
No, I
did too.
I
never thought it was a bunch of tales.
You were cool with it just stopping there?
Yeah, because it's that like your brain can then finish it. But it's one of those where this is a short tale.
What? You are,
No, this is a short tale in my mind. I am reading a book of
You
small
have a short
stories.
tale.
Well, I guess I don't
talk about that. I had that short. I heard that.
I guess I don't know why your brain was there.
Just because of that.
Because of the Fizbin opening.
Yeah, the Fizbin opening told me that they were tales.
See, we were dumb. We didn't. I didn't figure that.
I didn't read it.
I wanted this to come out to be something, and I'm guessing it's something in the future.
I'm hoping.
I'm hoping.
Still, I'm hoping Summer Flame.
You made me care. You brought Tannis back into my life, which upset me. But you made me actually care about Steel.
I did. I like Steel.
You made me care about Steel, and then we just dropped him, and we drop into the Brothers Magier, which I incredibly enjoy.
All right, so we're on to book 2 or story 2 of the anthology, The Legacy.
Second generation, part 2.
The Legacy.
So,
and you know what? I'm tired of naming chapters.
Let's not.
Let's not.
Okay. Hey, at least doesn't give away anything about what's going to happen.
That's true.
Because they have a tendency when they
Yeah.
name chapters.
Palin, a dark magician to come.
Yeah, that would be title 1.
So
the rise of Magier.
Raceland's return. What? Come on.
So we open chapter 1, Caramon. We're back with Caramon. And so now my mind is instantly going, okay, we're continuing where we just were, right? So Caramon has been summoned with his son to meet with Justerius, the Red Robe, who is now the head of the Conclave of Wizards.
What is the timeline here? I'm like, are we?
No idea.
Are we 6 months later?
So,
are we 2 years
So now
later?
I honestly do not know, because after reading the third one, I don't know where any of these fall.
When it is, because it's just a tale.
It's just a tale.
It's just a tale.
These are established events in a world.
Yeah. Well, we know that this takes place after the first book because of the fact that Palin hadn't gotten his robes yet.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think this happens before the steel stuff.
No, this happens after the steel stuff because there's numerous mentions in the first book by Caramon of it's a passing fancy. He'll eventually drop out.
You're right. Yeah.
Okay. You're right.
He doesn't really want to be a liberal arts major. He's gonna come and do a blue collar job. He'll
get his generals done.
He doesn't really want to be a liberal arts major. He's gonna come back and work in the family business. Which I love, but I do like that aspect too. I do like. I mean, it makes it in this fantasy world. Caramon, being the guy who's running the bar, running the restaurant, and he's got the one kid who, I want to go to college. And it's like, no, you're going to come and okay, fine.
Why can't you be like your brothers?
Well, yeah, we'll let you go do that. Your brothers and I will do the family business and we'll take care of that.
And the brothers, they just want to be fighters. They are Caramon in a nutshell.
Yeah, they're out wandering around fighting ogres at this point.
And I take there's more darkness to what Caramon's thinking. Caramon has watched his brother be the weird one who used magic and almost destroy the entire world of Kryn. And so he's trying to you don't want to go to college.
In his mind, he's trying to save his own kid.
Yes. In his mind, by playing loose and lightly with it.
Yeah.
Well, and I love these descriptions. I love these descriptions in the next 2 books here, actually, that we get of Palin.
Yeah.
Of Palin kind of being that combination. And kind of almost that perfect, because he's not the weakling that Raceland
He's stronger.
was.
He is much stronger.
He is kind of that perfect combination of Raceland and Caramon.
Right.
Yeah.
Where he's tall like his brothers. He's skinny because he's not the fighter guy. But you also look at the brothers are constantly ripping around armor and everything else, and so they're built.
Yeah.
So,
but he's more built than Raceland was. It's a mention of the only thing he really has like Raceland is the deft skinny fingers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which is good for casting spells.
Well, and I get the feeling here too that, and this happens in families. You look at pictures of my family, especially my mom's side of the family. We, as cousins, when we were all kids, when we were all little kids, we all looked like we could be brothers and sisters.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that happens sometimes in families. And so a lot of these descriptions that we're getting here, I get he's not gaunt like Raceland was, but he's, the 2 older brothers these are Caramon's kids.
Oh, yeah.
You could tell that they're Caramon's kids. However, there is that genealogy in there as well with the twins where him having the stature he has and he looks like his uncle a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
except
to be completely
for
honest,
some reason the red hair peeks through on all of them.
That's a dominant trait. It's a dominant gene.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd like Tika to be a dominant gene on me. All right, what?
Gene jamming. Gene jamming with Tika.
Gene jamming. Oh my God, I haven't heard that before.
You're just gonna drop it, Gene jamming.
Gene jamming with Tika.
Do you younger guys not know what gene jamming
No, I
is?
do. That's why I'm at. You can just drop that.
Well, he did. No, he dropped it and moved
so I dropped it and now I'm moving.
Much like you do when you're gene jamming.
Much like what...
Fair enough.
Much like what happened with Caramon when he's meeting with Justerius and Dalamar and they all drop the bomb on him that, hey, we think Raceland's still alive. So that's your chapter 1 is, hey, by the way, Caramon, we think your brother is still alive. And, okay, so coming off the heels of this last book, I'm only ratcheting up even more. I'm like, Holy crap.
Yep.
And so now you're going to bring Raceland back into all of this. This is amazing.
Yeah, he's in another plane.
Yeah.
We think he's trying to work back, and we think he may try to use your son. So we need you guys to come
Well,
over to
even,
the Tower of High
when we were
Sorcery.
doing Soulforge, I brought this up. I started looking into what books do the at this point the Magere twins.
Yeah.
What books are the Magere twins featured in?
Yeah.
And there is that whole thing about where Raceland is brought back at some point.
During the War of Souls.
And I brought that up. It is in War of Souls, and like this, when it comes up in here, I'm like, oh, maybe this is like
a prelude.
Setting it up.
Yeah,
which I guess
they might be. They might go back to this. We'll get to the end of this. No, they're not. Okay, so
we'll get there.
I'll answer that question.
So we're at the Tower of High Sorcery. They take Caramon away because they're going to talk to Caramon. The Conclave takes Caramon away because they're going to talk to Caramon privately.
Which we'd heard.
They drop him on all this. Hey, your brother may still be alive on another plane, and he may try to use your kid to come back into this plane, which just sets Caramon afire.
Yes.
And Caramon.
No, he's dead.
You know,
we
he's
did
dead.
this as our intro.
Yeah, this is our intro.
Yeah,
this is chapter 3.
He's dead. I had a dream where he came up and curled up next to me like he did when we were kids, and he's at peace and he's dead. And
He put bunnies on the wall.
And this is bullshit.
Yeah.
So chapter 2, we jump.
I was gonna say, I love that the entire time they're talking like this, the boys are in their own room fighting.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is.
It's brothers, man.
They're off in the corner.
And I like the depiction of this relationship.
Who's the one pacing? I don't remember.
Tannen.
Tannen's pacing. Sturm is just like he's eating bread and throwing it at him.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that this is Margaret, because I think Margaret, her depiction of the nuance of personalities was so good in Soulforge. I have a feeling this is all Margaret.
Well, and I love
her relationship.
I love the fact that Sturm is he's honorable and he's a fighter and he's all this, but his personality is such the opposite of his namesake.
Yes.
That I think it's hilarious.
He's sitting there just needling his brother repeatedly. He's like, hey. Dude,
and then all of us,
and Palin is just sitting in the corner going,
"You're gonna pace yourself through the floor. Stop it!
Right. Well, and I love Palin. I love Palin just sitting in the corner going, "Guys, you're freaking embarrassing me in front of my teachers."
And then, speaking of teachers, bamf through the wall comes Dunbar, the master.
How creepy would that be? Just middle of the wall, and hey guys.
It's played off really well though. Like for a master of magic, there are no walls.
But wasn't it Sarah Dunbar?
No.
What?
Pause game.
No, Sarah Damascus or some crap.
Or is he Damascus?
Did I get it right?
He has
Sarah Dunstan,
and he's Dunbar Mastermate or something.
But Mastermate, yeah. So Dunbar Mastermate. So
I love Dunbar Mastermate, by the way.
Needed. It's needed. One of our only people of color so far in this series.
Can we give him a different last name?
Dunbar Mastermate.
Master's mate.
He's a ship dude.
I know, it makes sense.
His last name rhymes with something.
His last name isn't Master Mate. It's Dunbar, right?
No, his
name is Dunbar Master's Mate.
Oh, I always just assumed Dunbar was like his last name, and then the last was like the title.
Oh, maybe that's what he is.
His title, his rank was like.
He's the master's mate.
Yeah, he's the master's mate, something like that.
Which brings up an interesting story. Is I swear,
I don't want to hear about that first
I swear to God.
Last time I was called master's mate.
I swear to God, I knew a gentleman in the Navy. He was the brother-in-law of a woman I used to work with, and his last name was Bate. And he retired as a master chief in the Navy. He quite literally used to mess with the new guys because he had to be referred to as Master Bate, and if you smiled, he would go off on the.
That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
That is an absolutely true story. But Master's Mate, I love him, and he comes in and he's not really dressed like a magician.
No,
he's not really dressed like a wizard.
Like this guy.
He's a decent little shit.
He wears a white sash. Yeah. He wears a white sash, but
has pouches.
Yeah, I have this great envision of him as they describe him, and just like Pirates of the Caribbean. He's got bald black guy with the big earring, and he's got a little bit of the accent.
Yeah, for sure.
Him,
I got that as well.
We do got to talk about how they describe him. It's 94.
It's 1994, and there is a line dropped about how something happens
It's
and
dark in the room,
and all they can see is his teeth.
And that's not okay.
I cringed. I'm kind of like, ooh.
See, I went a little. I missed that.
I totally missed that line, by the way.
See, I went Cheshire Cat with that.
Okay.
But there's something about him having like thicker skin too, and it's a little.
I don't know.
He's a sea dude. Sea dudes have thicker skin.
Well, and
yes, and
people of African descent, there's a misconception about them having thicker skin. It's a thing. I'm here to make us internet safe, guys. That's
I'm with you on this.
That's
one, Luke.
part of what I do.
Because
I feel like this is the conversation this is the conversation where like they have on Sports Center, and all of a sudden the one guy says something and the other guys start moving off screen. No, this is all you, man.
Those chairs with the wheels start coming in handy. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. This feels like
Luke's gonna show up on the website with just a box of stuff going. I don't know. It was I didn't even know what I was saying.
Eventually, it's just gonna be me being like, "Look, we had to let them go."
But
anyway, I don't know. I feel like Hickman spent a little bit too much time in Utah.
Yeah, but
well, yes.
What I do like about Dunbar here, though. Jesus Christ!
And we had to let Klab go.
Well, folks, it's now 5:53. Neil's here.
Take two, go. But what I do like is we get this idea of Dunbar on the sea. He's been fighting minotaurs to the north, which I think is cool.
Yeah, he talks about it with the.
I heard you boys had some experience with the minotaurs.
Yeah.
We were just out there. Oh, I just got back from there.
Okay, and
I want to read this story.
And
I love the idea. I love the idea of the seafaring fighting war mage.
Yes, I
seafaring
agree.
war mage is a wonderful idea.
And not maybe because he's a guy from the sea, but I actually can like smell the sea. I feel he brings in a big old gust of fresh sea air when he comes onto the stage here.
Oh yeah,
because I'm like, this is totally different. I really like this.
Well, he even makes mention because he's now the new head of the White Order.
Yes. Yeah,
and he even makes mention about, you know, I show up to meetings when I can, but I don't like to be on the land.
Right, and that is, I guess the balance. That's much more progressive. I mean, he is the head of the White Order. He is the good mage,
and we see how things have changed in the second generation here too, because all of the three people that we meet that are the head of the orders are so progressive from the uber traditional heads of the orders that we've met before. Even Dalamar, as the head of the Black Order, is progressive from the old heads of the Black Order that we've seen.
Right. And I like how in my notes I am still stumped to the fact that this is a lot of different stories, because I put, this second part is a nice change of pace. I guess we've momentarily set aside the Steel story because I think they're truly trying to set up a second generation. Wrong.
Nope, not.
Because I thought, hey, we're going to spend a lot of time here with Palin setting him up. Like we're spending a lot of time setting up this character.
Setting up the main characters to clash at the end.
That's what I thought too. Even my notes reflect that, thinking that that's where we're going. That is not where we're going.
I'm so disappointed.
Chapter 3, Caramon talks to Raceland, how he was going to commit suicide after Raceland tried to become a god, but he awoke and found Raceland lying in peace beside him.
Yeah,
and so he decided to just get married and drink.
Yeah. Right.
Well, no, because he didn't drink. This was after War of the Twins. Caramon had sobered up. They went to the abyss and everything. And there's this little mention of like he needed a minute before he went home.
Yeah, he hung out at Tanis's,
which is that really I think adds. You know, we've spent a lot of time with Caramon,
right?
But it adds a little bit more depth to him. That like, you know, he is big, strong, and kind of a blubbering idiot, but like that humanized him,
right?
I mean, because something bad happens to you, you need a minute.
Yeah, right.
And like your twin brother who you spent your entire life with is gone.
And then we do have the intro that happened here that we did, right? Where Caramon is let in on all that's happened with Raceland and what they think what they think is going on. This is really tough. I really liked this part because I'm feeling for Caramon at this point, because it's like I've got to go through this all again, and now not only with my brother but like with my son. Like this I can never be at peace. I can never get away from this.
Yeah,
and I'm really feeling for
he's
Caramon.
always having to sacrifice some family member. He had
Like
to,
how
kid had to go.
Yeah, I feel so
Raceland had to
awful
go,
for
now his
Caramon.
Kid has to go.
Yeah.
He almost lost Tika because he was a raging alcoholic.
Yeah, right.
But you feel this. You feel bad for Caramon here too, and you understand some of Caramon's rage and some of it.
Yeah.
And especially when I love the fact that old man Caramon has no bones about talking down the high priests of the high wizards.
Not anymore.
He doesn't give a crap.
You sons of just took my brother from me. You're not taking my son.
Listen up here, you robed weirdo.
Exactly. You are not. You took my brother. You took my brother. Your little church, your little wizard magic crap took my brother.
Right.
You're not. I will not allow you to take my son if I have to tie him up and throw him in.
Well, and
throw him on
literally
my own
saying
shoulder.
we are going to use your son as bait. Like we believe, like Fist and Dantalus, he is trying to come back into this world. Can we use your son to bait him back in?
No,
we think we can get him.
No, they're not saying can we use your son. They're
like,
saying
we are.
We're using your son, and this is a professional courtesy.
Yeah.
Basically,
yeah.
As long as we're here, we got Dalamar here, and he talks about the 5 wounds that Raceland left on him.
Yeah.
He's been bleeding for 25 years, and I'm
It's
worried
true.
about
No,
it.
Yep.
That is a thing. Yeah.
At any rate,
constantly seeping.
And I love the dramatic.
That's why he's
of
drinking wine
The
all the
drama
time.
of Dalamar here too, where he's like, "I have wounds from your brother too," and like rips open his shirt.
I don't buy this Dalamar crap.
There's no buttons.
Because Dalamar always had a weird homoerotic pull towards Raceland. Anyway,
Are you projecting a little bit?
Maybe. No.
I never thought so.
No.
I'm just giving you crap.
But it's true. I feel like
Dalamar's got a lady.
Yeah, no, he does.
Let me get back to what I was starting here. A problem I've had with ever since we left Autumn Twilight and moved forward through this is it seems to really like retread on stuff.
Yep.
And in this book, I'm not mad about it because we've gone through so much stuff that, like, when they're talking about, like, oh, Kitty Yara died, I'm like, well, didn't she get away in the end of Spring Dawning? I'm totally forgetting about the twins trilogy where Soth carries her off into hell.
Yeah, right. Awesome scene.
There's that, and there's the whole thing about, like, Raceland burning his 5 fingers into Dalamar. Like, this, I think, what I was mad about before, now I understand.
Right, yeah.
Like, again, me coming around being, like, Stockholm Syndrome with this freaking universe. Also, having a really good time.
But I don't think Dalamar, what he brings up with his sacrifice, is on an equal playing field with Caramon's.
No, but but you're right. He kind of believes it is.
It's like, I lost my grandma, my grandfather, all my kids, everything in Auschwitz. Yeah, well, the Nazis took my candy store.
And they scratched me.
Broken glass.
And every time I pick at it, it bleeds.
Stop picking at it.
No,
but for real, Dalamar's had an open wound for 25 years.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
He's got
it's magic.
I have...
Magical.
Should be infected.
Magical
He's got
open
magic.
wound.
Yeah.
He's got.
Was there magic antibiotics in the open magic
Yes,
open wound?
yes,
I don't
yes.
get it.
Part of the curse. I don't know.
Okay.
Yes.
I like that.
It's the
He can never wear a white.
it's the scroll of
Don't say seepage.
Seepage.
He has discovered in the black magic the scroll of penicillin.
Oh, it's a vial.
Okay, so chapter 4. The plan is to go to the Tower of Palanthas and use Palin to lure Raceland, which we talked about.
I love that we go back here.
Yeah.
I love the Tower in Palanthas, the Shoiken Grove.
And I love Dalamar just walk. This is my place now. And I like how he kind of gets put in his place a couple times, but he's this is my house. This is my house.
Spectre comes out of the wall. No, is it? You're not the true master.
No, it's your house for now.
Right. The master will return.
See, exactly. It will be, It is, this is my house. I've done everything. Oh, yes, right now.
Right.
We put up with you right now.
Right now.
However, you will never be the true master.
Look,
You're the master of the house.
I just don't think we can be together. Right
but
now.
we find
master
out,
of the house, keeper of the wine.
We find out here that Dalamar at the end of the Twins trilogy had closed the door and locked it.
Yeah.
Right, this was the end of it. It sealed that off forever. It
And
can't
not
be
even
open from the
wrapped.
outside.
No living thing.
Yeah,
Right.
Magic locked it and posted an eyeball.
Right,
Posted a set of eyeballs in front of it.
He's a specter.
But
thank you.
Raceland can open it
James
from
Bond have to do with
within,
it?
which again, through this whole part, I'm going, oh
and
my
that
god.
that was mentioned before they left. Whereas Palin, I don't know what we're saying because he's named
Palin,
Paladine.
but after Paladine, so it could be Palin. I don't know.
Palin.
I went with Palin.
Listeners,
is what I had.
as you do, tell us where we're wrong.
Yeah.
It's not Palandine.
Sarah.
I still read it as Palin.
Sarah Palin.
That was my biggest problem with calling him Palin.
Okay, so
Palin.
Palin.
You know what? I can see the abyss from my front porch.
Oh shoot, I'd move if I were you. Anyway,
we got moose and stuff out there.
Yeah, it's brought up before they even leave that it's been sealed and it will not open for Palin.
Yeah.
Or it will not. Palin may not open it, but it may open for Palin.
Yeah, because Raceland can open it from the inside. That's the whole idea, is that it will open for him, which I really like. Chapter 6, up the stairs to the tower they go. At the door, they are met by the Guardian.
Dun, dun, dun.
Caramon once again urges Palin not to enter. But the pull and the yearning is too much. Caramon has never understood Palin's love for magic.
Son, you don't have to do this. Dad, I need to do this.
Yeah, he's got to prove how brave he is, right?
Mm-hmm. My brother's been beating up ogres. This is my thing. And again, it's that.
I love that.
Again, it is that
back and forth.
Yep.
Is so good.
It is that brother thing, and it is also that father-son thing where maybe your father really doesn't understand what you're doing. He's trying to support you. He's trying to do everything, but no, I don't want to go back and make beer.
Yeah. That is one thing.
Right.
He makes a very good point of. You let your other two kids go off and risk their life all of the time.
Yeah, why?
They're
why not
constantly
me?
gone, and yet because risking my life is because of magic, you are terrified and you won't let me do anything.
It's
just because they have a sword and shield doesn't mean that my magic can't be a sword and shield.
But I'm putting on my dad hat. Caramon's 100% correct here, though.
Oh, he's right.
He's 100% correct because it is different when the other two brothers grab their sword and shield and go fight ogres, right, or whatever. It's not the same. Like this, if they die, they die. That's a different thing. This magic thing, again, this is where the fate of the world can reside, right? This is much bigger.
But
this is not like I don't want my son to become an artist.
But no,
this is like my
get
brother,
out of the dramas and go into science.
Your uncle who wants to climb into your body just about destroyed the freaking world, and now you're going to go through that door, right?
But this also harkens back.
Your uncle's
This also
you're going to find the same magazines he's got in his drawer.
But this also harkens back, Bob. This also harkens back to the conversation in the Twins book, the Twins book that we just read, and we just did the previous to Soulforge.
Yep.
To Soulforge, of the whole conversation between Caramon and Raceland about this is your sword, this is my sword, and and eventually, as we watch our kids, and I understand from the dad position too, I don't want to step back and watch you get hurt, but I got to step back and watch you get hurt.
You got to learn your own lesson.
You have to learn your own lesson.
But don't do it with
this.
a portal to the abyss.
I was gonna say this is not the same because this is the portal to the abyss. It's not. I'm gonna go learn your lesson, son.
The world might end, but you will have learned.
Go
a
play with the
lesson.
fate of the cosmos, kid. I hope it all comes out okay.
But you have to have confidence in your kid as well.
Not when he's wrestling with the fate of the universe.
But here's the deal. Here's the deal also, Bob. When is he not going to be? That's the path that now it is established for Palin. But if it's not here, it's going to be somewhere else. And as the father, at least you're here to do it with him.
The force is strong in his family, so
But to Caramon, that's not how it was. He was going to don the white robes, right? Like he was saying he was going to be a white magician.
Yes.
And he thought he was able to...
He told his parents he was going to be a white magician.
That's what I'm saying. This is from Caramon's perspective.
Yes.
Caramon says, hey, I had my boy on the right track. We were holding off on the whole magic thing. He was going to be a white magician. When the testing came, like, we're going to do it slow and easy. And next thing I know, I'm at the portal to the abyss.
Look, Dad, I only
and
played...
a creepy wound oozing guy is like, go
look,
through.
Dad, I only played...
And my son is not taking the test.
Look, Dad, I only played basketball
No, that's
because...
not.
I only played basketball because you played football, and all I really want to do is sing show tunes.
But that only plays into what I'm saying. From Caramon's perspective, this kid hasn't even taken the test yet, and he is going up against the abyss. We're going to find out what this actually all is. But from Caramon's perspective,
he's keeping
you
him
are
on-
these heads of magicians are throwing his son, and he's not even a full magician
But
yet.
Caramon's used to
into
that.
this.
He's used to the magicians being.
That's true.
That's what they have always been to his family, other than
Yeah,
Raceland.
I think
And in
That's
Caramon's sense of honor, there is so much here of conflict.
Yeah.
Because Caramon has the ultimate conflict. He has the dad conflict of I want to protect my son, I have to do this. However, this might save the world again.
True.
And how do you balance? I can't even imagine trying to figure out how to balance They're telling us right now that this might save the world again. It may put my son in, but it's going to put my son in danger. But it's going to save the world, and so there's what is this conflict, and what is actually going on?
I agree.
You definitely need to try to see this through Caramon's eyes.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
And then through Palin's eyes, he is bamfed through the door, right? And it's locked behind him. Nobody can get in.
Yes.
Caramon's banging on the door.
Does the door even open?
I don't think
the door even opens. I think
I don't
he just
know if it-
bammed.
No, I think he just pulled through.
I think he just like pulled through it.
It's set up like it's going
Well,
to.
it's weird. The spirit gives him the keys.
Yeah. Well, no, it shows him the keys.
Shows him the keys, but I don't know. All of a sudden, he's in the room.
Yes.
So, but it's cool. We get all kinds of stuff we've already seen. The Bluebound spell books. The Staff of Magus is, is
so cool.
I
cool.
love these descriptions in here on
So good.
on the dust. And the dust isn't like scattered by anything because no living thing can come in here.
right.
Like even
This
like
has to be Margaret Weiss.
like
all
yeah.
of this.
Yes,
has
I
to be
agree.
Weiss.
And again,
Creepy,
when
it's
Weiss
gotta be Weiss.
when Weiss does dark, when Weiss does creepy, she does very well. That dust thing, all that description of the undisturbed dust from flies, from rodents, from anything else, because nothing living can come into this room.
Or even when he like traces his fingers through it, it's like some weird like spider web trails or something that goes. Oh, it's.
Well, and I like that the staff is leaning
looking
there.
at the bindings of the books and knowing.
The reason he can see is because the staff is faintly glowing.
It takes him a minute because this is also. I've heard of this. This is exactly how I pictured it. I knew it. Where's this light? Oh my God, the staff! Holy crap, the staff!
And
yeah, exactly.
And I love it because when he touches it,
This is Disney World.
flares even brighter.
Yeah.
Like it's like calling to him, almost like to touch it.
If anybody else were to touch it, the light would extinguish. But Caramon touched it. My father touched it.
Yeah, I can do this.
Maybe I can.
Yeah.
Which that feels so D&D, and my brain was brought back to the original 3 books, and we would be reading it, and you guys could hear the dice rolling, quote unquote. That feels like, okay, I'm locked in a room. There's books I know I can't touch. There's a light source that I might be able to. Screw it. It's the only thing in this room I know I can interact with.
Roll.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Roll.
And it's roll and oh damn, I rolled well.
Oh, I rolled well. Oh, wait, if I focus on something, I can shoot a beam of light at it. Like, it's not a lantern, it's a flashlight all of a sudden.
Hey, there's some curtains over there with the Stargate behind it.
That's what I like. I like that we reveal
there's a
this.
curtain with a glowing Stargate behind it.
And he gets sucked in.
And then we get
into the Stargate.
We get like the
rainbow colors swirling.
The rainbow colors swirling with the heads say again.
Yeah.
And it's
the descriptions.
It's
are
very
just
cool.
Beautiful.
It's all very cool.
And I'm sitting here going, I'm sitting here at this point going,
asunder.
Wait, didn't we close this?
Yep.
We closed this, and now he's in the room, and now it's open again, and oh God.
But and this whole thing is like Raceland's alive on the other side and Raceland being able to open it from the other side, even though they closed it, is such a Raceland thing.
Yep.
I left a back door. I'm coming home.
Yep. Plus in his condition.
Yes.
Yep.
That we find out. And again, if you haven't read the book, I don't know why you're listening to the podcast, but
we appreciate you.
I had for what we're going to talk about here in a couple minutes. I had no freaking clue at this point.
Nope. I agree.
No freaking clue.
Yep.
All of a sudden we have you're not an apprentice. You're
nothing.
You haven't graduated from Hogwarts yet. You haven't graduated. Done anything.
You are Weird Megan, basically. Weird Megan just got sucked in.
You don't have your wizard's equivalent of a GED.
Yeah. He's just sitting there.
You're a student.
Yeah.
Because he's like what?
He's like a middle schooler. He's like a middle schooler all of a sudden graduating.
No, yeah, he's like 18 at this point or whatever, but you haven't graduated, you haven't done anything, and then all of a sudden
you've seen a car before. Drive this 18-wheeler.
Yep.
I don't know how.
Yeah, right.
You know what? We've talked about anatomy in class. Let's perform heart surgery.
Here's a scalpel.
Exactly.
He's in the abyss, and the abyss is always so well written.
Yes.
I always love because again I just hear Tangerine Dream playing in the background, and then he meets Raceland, and this
just getting tortured.
This is crazy. I love this.
Raceland is so freaking crazy.
Yeah. Like there's all these undead that are carrying him. They like chain him up to a wall.
The whole like, not now.
Yes. Yep.
Uncle. Just fuck off.
Yeah. And so.
And this whole thing, this is all Prometheus.
Yes.
This is all Prometheus in Greek mythology.
Yep.
Because he gave fire to man, was chained to a rock,
right?
And an eagle or a crow, depending on your translation, came and ate his liver every day. His liver grew back, and then it came again, and it came again. This is a take on the Promethean myth, because Raceland saved mankind from the wrath of the gods, from the wrath of Takesis. Right. Now he gets chained to this wall every day, and she comes and cuts him open, and then he heals back up.
I absolutely love that. I love that reading club. Love it.
Description of her shadow.
Yeah.
Like the shadow of a wing that all of a sudden encompasses, like all of a sudden it's something's flying, and it's just the entire horizon is this shadow.
Right.
Like these deities are described so well here.
But she kind of appears.
I'll keep bringing it up as we go along. But
she appears both kind of as dragon and as seductress, kind of, right? Like I feel like it's kind of multiple things happening.
In the shadow, Palin can see the most beautiful, seductive woman he's ever seen.
Great painting out there about it, by the way.
And the most terrifying beast.
Well, it does. I get these pictures of like when sometimes artists will do like the inner, like the character standing there, and then the inner demon on the shadow behind it. Again, I hate to bring it up, but it was a really cool picture when Phantom Menace first came out.
Oh yeah.
Of him there with the Vader shadow behind him. I've seen it where it's been, there are the ones where it's Takesis with the dragon shadow behind her, and just such a cool image. Oh, that is very cool.
Yeah. So it'll be on our Facebook page, and it's PG-13 rated, but it's a great picture.
Nice. I feel like that could be on a cover of a gore novel.
It's the background on my phone.
Of course it is.
Not really.
I don't know. I could go for that Dark Queen.
Raceland calls Palin to him. Bring the staff to me. Touch it to my manacles. Let's get the heck out of here.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of where. What happens?
Help
me in.
But even Palin, while he's doing this, is having this like
they're struggling towards the portal.
Is
at
in
this point.
Well, even when he's coming up and he's releasing Raceland, he just saw Raceland get his guts taken out.
Oh, and it's awful.
It is
barfs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Almost retches, right?
Yeah. No, he empties his stomach and then like dry heaves after.
Oh yeah. Right.
Because because of the abyss, it's not like you just walk where you want to go. You have to think.
You have to think.
But what I was going to say is when he's touching the manacles, we have this moment in Palin's head where he's going, Holy shit, I'm doing it. Holy shit, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
This is working for me.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be working. This is working for me.
And Raceland's body's like slowly sewing itself back up. He's healing from this deadly wound he was given.
I thought he was slowly dying. I thought it wasn't healing. I thought he was
No,
slowly
he was
dying,
healing. Eventually
and
he
then
starts healing.
I always thought it was he died every day and came back.
No, he was healing. As they were
He
going
has to
towards the
suffer. If he dies, he doesn't suffer.
No, I thought it was like
That's
death,
usually
and then when he dies, he is
as they're going towards the portal, he heals.
Paul, I know exactly where you're coming from. It makes it seem like that, and then it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I get a weird warning in here. Takesis sees Palin, but then nothing happens out of that.
There's something about Takesis knows what's going on, and because Takesis she's a god. She's a goddess. She's everywhere.
Right.
And this like visage, this materialized form of her that she brings here isn't strong enough to deal with the two Megers that are here.
And I went the wrong way with this. I was totally wrong. But as soon as this starts happening, I'm like, something's wrong with what's going on here. And then I start reading into things Raceland is saying. I start believing this may or may not actually be Raceland.
Yeah.
And I think that this is all a ruse for Takesis to come back to the world.
I was there with you, Bob. However, I was going with the, okay, oh my God, we're on another plane. Raceland's, because I really wanted Raceland to be out there.
What's keeping me from that?
Takesis is going to sneak in behind him.
Yeah. Something like that.
Or Raceland has made a deal with Takesis to go through all
that.
Yes.
Raceland made a deal. He was
because of
projecting
stuff
all of
that
this.
Raceland says here. I'm thinking that
it gets very fuzzy here.
Yes, it does.
But and it continues to be fuzzy for a while, and I get kind of mad while I'm reading it. Like,
right.
Wait, what? No, he would open the portal so he could escape. Not so, if he could have opened the portal and let her out this entire time, why would he have done that?
Well, one of the reasons that I get really weirded out is because Raceland looks at Palin and says the reason she left you alone is because she senses your power, how powerful you are.
Yeah.
And like we just said, he is not. He is not powerful. So I'm instantly Raceland's a liar. Like again,
no, I took that as the prophecy.
Oh, I didn't.
I took that as I took that as the old school prophecy, as there is great power in you that you don't know about yet.
Oh, see,
I guess
the Takesis I know would have been coming after him.
It was okay. So he is a noob, but he's been given the staff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And maybe that staff unlocks something in him.
But she wouldn't say that to Caramon, and Caramon can hold
the staff unlocks something in him, and that she only had it is set. She needs to regroup.
Right.
Like whatever she had, whatever part of her was there was weaker.
Right.
And she needs to bring it back, power it up, and send it back.
And see, I was instantly reading duplicity here, and that this is wrong.
That's why
because I was thinking this is all fake.
I figured it was Raceland manipulating.
But fake in the wrong way. I took the wrong way on the fake. I thought this, like you said, Takesis is coming back.
And see, I went so hopeful. I went hopeful with this because what we have been building Palin up to be. And what I felt that Weis and Hickman here are building Palin up to be is Palin is going. You have the genetics. Mm-hmm. You have the force is strong in my family. Right. You have this great power. You have not awakened to this great power inside of you yet, but it is there, and this power, and we're going. Therefore, she needs to go do this. So you think you're a weakling, but you have power, and you're going to be this great and powerful magician. But we got to get you there first.
Yeah.
Well, but then that's what happens. Chapter 9, they come through the portal, and then Raceland starts doing all of this pontificating to him about how we have to join with Takesis.
This is where it's fuzzy for me, man. I'm like, man, what are you doing?
Raceland, what are you doing?
Gets him to go get wine, and Palin brings him a glass of wine.
Get wine, and get me some new robes.
Yes, and this reverence. But
when my uncle caresses my face with his hot fingers.
Yeah, right. But this is where the fuzz really happens, and this is where I didn't really understand. So there's obviously this choice going on.
I'm actually getting mad.
It becomes so fuzzy that I am too, because it's okay, Raceland, his fingers are cracked. Obviously, Palin is praying to Paladine for strength. He's got to close the portal. He's got to keep Takesis from coming in. The energy bolts are crackling in Raceland's hand because he's going to kill him if he doesn't do it. And then that all ends. And in chapter 10, just Raceland yells through the door, Dalamar's plans failed. Raceland needed to pay one last debt to sleep in peace, and now everything's done. Like, it ends.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm going, so what happened? I'm left on this cliffhanger.
But Palin is taking all of the magic. He believes he's taking
closed
all of
the portal.
magic.
He closed it.
And he closed the portal.
Well, we don't know.
We don't know for a while.
But from Palin's perspective, he's grabbed everything. He's made the choice. He's going to do the right thing. He's going to close the portal. And Raceland kills him.
His uncle kills him. Yes.
Yeah,
but he has made the right choice.
But he has made
There's these arcane whispers as like Raceland's summoning these freaking lightning bolts to light him up.
Yeah.
And then there's the white flash as he's praying to Paladine.
And this would be great in a movie. And again, at this point, I am still extremely excited because I don't know what's happening. We've set up Takesis and her army. Is she coming back? Is it going to be Raceland taking the head of this army? Is it going to be Palin taking the head of this army? I'm thinking we are setting up one of the most epic clashes in Dragonlance yet. Right?
Yeah, you got the Black Knights rising in the north.
Right.
Takesis gains a foothold through, and like the most powerful arcane magic user that has graced this world is alive again and on her side.
So now can we talk about chapter 11?
Yeah.
Because if computers weren't so expensive, mine would have been flying out the window.
I appreciate you not sharing.
Because we find out this is a test.
Yes.
This was the secret. It's the test.
I know it's the test.
And it's we had to do this in secret. We had to do we had to trick you. And Dalamar's even like, I apologize for tricking you, old friend.
He should be apologizing to me for tricking me.
I love this.
I hated this.
As upsetting.
I enjoyed this.
As upsetting as this was, it made all that fuzzy stuff make sense.
Yes.
It did make it make sense.
At least it made sense, and I feel it's this weird.
And you're supposed to feel fuzzy. That was the point.
Well, I agree.
After the reveal came,
I'm not saying fuzzy as in like an illusionist sort of way. It was an illusion, Klab.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But so what I'm like. It's this weird juxtaposition of how like Dragonlance used to be,
right?
Where like nonsense would happen and you just have to deal with it. But now nonsense happened. Just kidding, it wasn't real,
right?
And like all of a sudden, I just
or was it?
There's a little bit of reality in there, but we'll get to that.
So this is where my extreme anger, kind of, because I agree. There's a little thing happening here. Is going to come from this because then once I start reading the third book, which we'll review in the next episode, I then realize, wait, none of this is continuing, right? Yeah. So what my extreme irritation is that you built two trilogies that culminated in one of the most epic things ever, which is the Takesis Abyss Raceland thing. That was the greatest moment for me in the whole Dragonlance cycle, right? Now all of a sudden, in a small 40-page anthology story, you've brought me back there and tricked me from those first two stories thinking you are creating another epic in this second generation that is just as cool. You brought back all of the beats, all of the notes, the Abyss, the Portal, Takesis, Raceland. He's coming back, and I'm going, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. This is awesome. Oh, wait, it was the test. And now let's go to the brothers as they flit around in their ship and grab women's breasts. Like, I am so irritated that this is what they did. I can't take it.
So we get to the end here. Palin wakes up. He's outside again.
I do want to...
He's outside again. His father's waking him up.
As long as we're talking about, like, what... So this was the test, but there was something
There's
else
a
there.
seed.
Yeah, there's a seed.
There's a seed. Which we'll talk about in Wanna Bet.
Yeah.
No, it's at chapter 10, at the end of chapter 10 here. So as much as this was the test, we still in chapter 10 we're hanging out with Raceland in air quotes.
Yep.
And he says, I just want you to know, Raceland cried, that I didn't do this for you mages. I didn't do it for the conclave. I didn't do it for my brother. I had one more debt to pay in my lifetime. Now I have discharged it. I can sleep in peace.
Right.
And then I'm moving on, I'm paraphrasing here, and this to the magic, the Archmage's voice lowered. Whatever happiness and joy was in my life, Palin, came from the magic. To the magic I give you.
Right.
Raceland is here.
Yes,
There's a part of him that is actually that awoken.
Just like Fist and Dantalus was in the test.
Fist and Dantalus, he is in the test.
But that's
just like Fisty was.
But that's because Dalamar screwed up. Dalamar screwed up his spell.
Yeah.
He was supposed to.
Yeah, and that's another part in chapter 10. Yes.
Yeah, right. Dalamar was supposed to just conjure up the illusion of Raceland, and he screwed up the spell, and he actually did pull Raceland over here for a small time being to participate in this test.
Came over for a hot second.
Which, and again, and we go on in chapter 10, like you said, where before Raceland, force goes south. He will be great in the art, and I will give him this. And we get into chapter 11 where they're out, Palin's outside again, and all of a sudden the Spectre shows up with the staff of mages and goes, "Excuse me, sirs, I was instructed to give this to him." And Dalamar's looking at him going, "Oh, who the hell instructed?"
Yeah.
Oh shit!
But it's like
messed that up.
Who instructed you to give this to him?
The Spectre shows up and draws some stuff.
Yeah.
The staff comes out and he hands it over.
Yes, I was instructed to give this to you. By who? The master of the house. But I'm the... Oh, shit.
And this was the part that was ruined for me by the cover of my book.
Because he has the staff.
Because he has the staff. So it's like he leaves and it's like, oh, well, it's just part of the test, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking in my brain, no, it's not. It's
perks of digital.
It's on the cover of the book. It's on the cover of the book.
What are the perks of digital?
And that whole part...
The thing first, you never see it again.
That whole part does redeem part. I like that there was some reality to what happened. It helps to redeem part of my irritation at the end of chapter 10. But I am really saddened by the loss of what could have been. I think for a long time in this book, I was envisioning something much greater than what we are getting.
Well, and when we get here too, again, my stupid brain just goes, I'm waiting for the Spectre to turn into the Knight of the Templar off of Last Crusade and go, "You have chosen wisely."
Yeah.
That's essentially what the test is.
I know.
Yeah.
Right. So there you have it.
There we have it. The first 2 books out of the second generation, the first 2 stories out of the second generation. We're going to get into the other 3 later on. I'm actually really excited because, Bob, you said it. You said you didn't like, or it took you out for a little bit when you got to Wanna Bet. I laughed off during Wanna Bet, and I actually caught the big reveal in Wanna Bet. I knew it right away, and so when he got to the big reveal, I went, I knew it. Besides the fact that this is an anthology, besides the fact that this is a bunch of stories put together, not billed as a bunch of stories put together,
right?
What do you guys think about these 2 stories and the universe?
So now this is I gotta start because I'm gonna think this sounds weird. I think after all my yelling about how irritated I was at that. I actually have really enjoyed these first 2 stories. At current, I'm 3/4 of the way through this 3rd story, and actually really liking that as well. I actually like tales and anthologies a lot of times better than mainline novels.
Well, and you've said that some of your favorite things in the past have been Tales from Mos Eisley
for sure
and stuff like that.
So I think the only reason that my irritation level rose with this is that I didn't know this was an anthology going in. So for 2 books, I was struggling to knit them together in some sort of overall giant book that I thought we were reading. Now, going into book 3 for the next time, that I know this is an anthology, it's like I've kind of calmed down, taken a breath, and gone, oh, anthology. Okay. Well, now I'm reset. Reset the clock to Bloodsea Monster of Istar. Let's go.
And see, when I was first listening to this, like I said, it's the end of summer. I listened to this whole set when I ran with my dog, Marjade, and. thinking this and thinking Kitty Aras Son sets Steel up so well, like we talked
Yeah,
about. The legacy
beautiful.
sets up the brothers, and I'm like waiting. I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna get this whole the kids are gonna come together and be like their parents and save the world.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yep.
You know, it's you go through that, and then you get to want to bet, and it's like, okay, we have to establish the brothers as a team.
Well, and we do have to shout. I'm gonna say we have to shout them out. But I don't remember which of our listeners told us to rearrange our calendar. It was either Brendan or Philip. On Facebook.
I don't think it was Brendan. It was either Philip or Justin.
Philip or Justin.
I think it was Justin.
We were gonna do Summer Flame and then this.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling the reason they told us to switch it.
Yeah.
Especially with like the end of my softcover book saying, "Hey, here's a little excerpt from Summer Flame."
Yeah, right.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am excited.
And we'll read it in the fall.
You saying that
anticlimactic.
You saying that makes me excited for Summer Flame because I want more of the Brothers Majer.
I agree.
The Brothers Majer are so fun for me.
Grab that tome.
It's a biggie.
It's a biggin.
You want to get started on it? Here it is.
I loved meeting these characters.
The thing was so great.
I loved the setup with these characters. I loved where we were going with this. Paul, what are your thoughts right now?
Oh, I loved this. I love short stories. They're enjoyable as long as they're well written short stories, and these I think were written decently enough that I enjoyed them. It's one of those where it's a little dive into a universe, and then you can come out of it and go to another part of the universe. It's great. You just go in for a little bit, you come out, you go in again.
Right.
Let me ask you this: was between Kitty Aras Son and the Legacy, which one did you guys think you liked more?
Legacy. No.
Oh, that's tough.
They're different. They're too different.
They're very different, but I would say probably Legacy. I liked that. Now knowing now that it's an anthology, I like kind of the huge build up and then a kind of Twilight Zone-ish.
Yeah.
Like you thought this was where
it's an episode of a TV show.
It's an episode of a TV show.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
Luke?
That's good, Luke.
I'm too angry about it being
It's gonna be tough to get him to read these last three.
Magic. Wait till you get to Wanna Bet. No.
I feel like there's a song that should be about Wanna Bet.
Wanna Bet will make you feel good. Racing Zone will make you feel weird. And then you get to the sacrifice, and the sacrifice should not be the end story. I'll tell you that right now, and I'll talk about that in the next podcast.
And for all of those of you out there, because we've heard from all of you who want more songs, actually nobody's asked for them.
But we have another song coming.
You're getting one. Your next one.
We have another song coming. It's going to be a surprise.
Uncle Klab has pulled out all the stops on the lyrics. It's unbelievable.
The Song of Huma might also make an appearance looking through this one.
Right.
For sure.
Well, hit us up on the Facebooks. I'm taking Klab's bit. Hit us up on the Facebooks. Email us.
Talk to us on Twitter. Talk to us on YouTube. We've had a bunch of comments on YouTube that we talked about. So, by all means, keep doing more of that. Look at those videos that we're putting up. Luke's been very cool about dropping some old episodes on YouTube.
I have
all the new stuff that you guys are doing in your little Minecraft game or whatever you're playing.
Yeah, I have videos rendering and uploading as we record now because it takes so bloody long for that stuff to happen.
The computer's
so yeah, our old episodes are going up on YouTube. I feel like we have
Luke, just make sure that you're rendering and uploading the correct videos, please.
Oh no,
not Dungeons and Dweebs After Dark.
Klab, our videos are saved on a personal hard drive.
Okay. Dungeons and Dweebs, the Red Sword Diaries.
That'll be a Patreon subscription, and there'll be no sword swings. Philip, you cannot purchase.
They're however
you
just
can purchase, just don't listen with
Or was it Andrew? I always get it wrong. It's Andrew.
Andrew.
Andrew Phillip.
Andrew
Oh, it's
Phillip.
Andrew Phillip.
Oh.
I'm so sorry.
Andrew Phillip and then last name.
There, however, may be swings, but not sword swings. Swing.
Don't start.
At any rate, again, I'm going to say this at the end of every episode just because it is the best way to support us is to subscribe to us on YouTube or voice your interest in, I don't know, donating to a Patreon where we can, maybe have some extra uncensored
Or
stuff.
better yet, one of the best things I think is to make this the Church of D and Dweebs, and I just want you to just go out there door to door knocking and just spreading the word of D and Dweebs to everyone. You have a coworker that wants to listen to this.
Get us round. Get us out of here.
All right,
get us out of here.
All right,
before
sweetheart. Yeah, you're the blue girl. Come here.
Anything.
Come here. All right. I want a shot of the Tendelarian rum, and now please make sure that you're going to bring that in those dragon goblets, please.
Put a little extra in.
All right, pretty sweetheart. Hey, I'll catch.
Could we make pamphlets? We could call them the Palatine Tower.
Shush. Thank you for listening to this episode of Dungeons and Dweebs. There's even more adventuring to be had at our website, dungeonsanddweebs.com. We would love to hear from you. You can email us at dungeonsanddweebspodcast@gmail.com. You can also find Dungeons and Dweebs on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Find all those links at dungeonsanddweebs.com. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please help spread the word by leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes. The music for Dungeons and Dweebs is Fatal Fight by Royalty Free Kings and can be found at their website, royaltyfreekings.com. Dungeons and Dweebs is a Tim Gilbert media production. Copyright 2017, all rights reserved. And no part of the show can be reproduced, repurposed, or redistributed without the expressed written permission of Tim Gilbert Media.